you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
8 Achilles tears this season that we just went through. To me, that's not a coincidence. That's more of a trend. And it brought me back to the KD moment. And as we have more pace and space, as we have more expand the court, more threes, it increases the problem of injuries, soft tissue injuries like this. And I think the NBA is going to have to find different ways, protocols to put in place to minimize these types of things that are occurring because the trend is going up.
Those are the words of Jay Williams of ESPN talking about all these Achilles injuries. It's an epidemic, Victoria.
I know.
Because Tyrese Halliburton had it. We've seen, obviously, Jason Tatum. Kevin Durant's had it. We've seen Kyrie Irving. A lot of high-profile players recently have suffered Achilles injuries. But one thing that we're not factoring in is wear and tear from when you're actually younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that stuff actually does matter, by the way.
It does. It sticks around.
It does. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Fodenecker producing the show, as always. I haven't been here in a week, Victoria.
I know.
I haven't been in this building. It's been a minute. Well, I actually had my birthday was this past weekend.
Right.
So
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much. I took a little PTO around the weekend just because it was my birthday. But then last week I was sick. Actually, still kind of, you probably hear it a little bit in my voice.
Not a great birthday present.
No, it's not. Being sick is not a great birthday present. It's cool. I got to watch some shows and documentaries and stuff that I wanted to catch up on.
Yeah.
But at 12:30, I have some quick rants, some things to get off my chest.
Nice.
Outside of the mucus that's inside of it. But I got some things to get off my chest and some things I got to say. But Victoria, Canes might be making some moves this week, potentially. Like, we've already seen some moves taking place in the NHL. Saw Trevor Zegras get traded yesterday from Anaheim to Philadelphia. He's a center. Mm-hmm. The market is shifting. When some person gets moved, even though that might not be someone you're pursuing, everything else alters and adjusts as a result.
It's like a domino effect.
Ripple effect, domino effect, butterfly effect, all the effects.
All the effects.
All the effects.
Cause and effect.
Rexon effect, all the effects.
All of it.
All of them. But let's go ahead and get this one started, Victoria.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
So I know a lot of people, trust me, we've seen it in our YouTube live chat. By the way, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. If you go search there, 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. You can jump in and watch on YouTube. You can watch the whole show streaming to everybody. There's some people already in the comment section already talking about, like, hey, Tomas Hertl possibly coming from Vegas to Carolina for the Carolina Hurricanes. We are going to get into hockey for sure. 100% going to get into a lot of hockey today because the draft is this Friday. And if you're going to make some moves and stuff that might impact draft picks for this upcoming year, you obviously got to make moves by Friday evening. So we'll see how things shake out with that. But I got to get something off my chest here real quick, Victoria.
Okay.
This weather sucks.
Yes.
It stinks. Get it out of here. I hate it.
It's hot.
Okay, on to the next thing. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So we actually saw yesterday, the University of North Carolina, actually it was last night, they released their plans for revenue sharing. We're starting to see colleges release, hey, these are the sports that we're going to share our $20.5 million of revenue sharing, that max allotment. Here are the sports that we're going to be sharing that money with. Now, North Carolina said yesterday, Bubba Cunningham said, our revenue sharing is going to go to 4 sports: football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball. Now, they're going to, every year annually, they're going to reevaluate and look and see where that money goes, because there is going to be a 4% increase on that revenue share each year. So again, that's how they're planning to do things right away. We're going to dive more into how this impacts other sports. But let's hear from Brian Murphy, WRAL Sports investigative reporter, explains UNC's athletic revenue sharing.
We don't know the breakdown. We do know that the back pay included in the House settlement goes 75% to football, 15% to men's basketball, 5% to women's basketball, and 5% to all other sports. So if North Carolina is spending a little bit less on football, I would imagine men's basketball is going to get the lion's share of that difference, with women's basketball getting somewhere around 5% and then baseball. But we don't have exact percentages on what they're going to be distributing. We don't even know what Duke or NC State, how they're going to split up their money. I spoke with the AD at East Carolina, and he said that everyone is going to have to give to football and men's basketball because that generates the revenue. But at a school like East Carolina, they may decide to try to prop up their very good baseball program. And so it's going to be up to each individual school to decide how they spend that money.
It does come down to that, and like Brian Murphy just said, we don't know exactly what other schools are going to do. Certainly, football is going to get a good chunk of money,
For sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
Basketball, men's side, is going to get a good chunk of money, obviously. Now, again, only 4 sports at North Carolina. This is announced by Bubba Cunningham. It's posted right there on their website. So this is not like backtrack information. This is what they're saying. Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball. Those are 4 sports getting that revenue. Now, we know from football, back when Bill Belichick's contract was released to the public, about 6 months ago or so, roughly, that we know football, according to that contract, is getting $13 million for revenue sharing for football. All right, $13 million bucks. That was, again, Bill Belichick's contract. So if you look at the $20.5 million out there, that's roughly about 63% of the money that's going to be given out. Now, 4 sports is tied for the lowest we've seen any school say they're going to be given out in terms of revenue share. Ohio State being one of them. I think Texas A&M also maybe recently said it. But I know Ohio State being probably like the biggest high-profile school saying, yeah, we're only going to give revenue share to 4 sports. So UNC is not unique in that approach. But what about those other sports? You can't just leave other sports behind, right? So no revenue sharing for women's soccer, women's lacrosse, both fresh off of national championships. Field hockey, who has won 5 of the last 7 national championships. Yeah. Again, teams have won a lot of national championships recently. I understand that they're different. They're not the high profile of football and basketball. I totally get that. I'm not trying to discount that. But no revenue sharing for a lot of these other sports, but that doesn't necessarily mean that money won't be coming for those athletes. Let's all keep this in mind. Let's not forget that players can receive money outside of the revenue share through other NIL deals. They got to go through that whole clearinghouse for anything that's over $600, whatever. But you can still make money off of those things. Now, a couple people that I've spoke to and the word going around is that, you know what, a lot of those sports, like I just mentioned, women's soccer, women's lacrosse, they've got money for outside deals. That I think, my guess is, to the point where North Carolina could say, we know that they're going to be getting money from other revenue sources or from other outside stuff, that they don't need to get money from us revenue sharing because they're still going to be taken care of. It's just going to come from, the third-party NIL deals. Now, one way to help athletes is the fact that while there are roster limits for each sport, there are no scholarship limits now. So athletes that are on partial scholarship can now receive full rides. For example, sports like football, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, women's tennis, women's gymnastics, they're known as head count sports. So, Victoria, if you were a gymnast and you were on scholarship, you got a full ride.
Nice.
Full ride.
Yep.
Okay? Whereas if you were a sport like I played lacrosse in college. You can get up to a full ride, but most of those situations used to be you got a partial scholarship in some way, shape, or form. So sports like men's and women's lacrosse, field hockey, baseball, softball, they were known as equivalency sports. So I'll use men's lacrosse as an example because it's a sport that I played. The max allotment of scholarships was 12.6. and you have around roughly 45 to 50 guys on a team.
Right.
Now, it's up to the coach to kind of divvy up how they saw fit. So someone that they really wanted to be like, maybe, hey, you're going to be our starting attackman in terms of you're going to lead our team in scoring, you're like a top-end goalie, you might get 75%. Someone else also might just get 25. And there's obviously, you're going to have plenty of guys on that team that aren't under any sort of athletic scholarship. But now, because there are no scholarship limits, they can be full rides, which is actually tremendous help financially for a lot of these athletes too, when you think about it. So in total, UNC's scholarship number is jumping from 338 scholarships to 532. It's a massive jump. And they're still sponsoring 28 sports. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Which gets into the second thing, Victoria. Where does the money come from?
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Bubba Cunningham did announce yesterday that their budget is increasing by roughly about $30 million this upcoming academic year. For the 24-25 academic year, the ones that's ending here in like 6 days, their budget was about $150 million. So we're talking about roughly a 20% increase. That's not a small chunk of change. $30 million is not a small chunk of change.
No.
So how do you increase funds? Well, UNC does now have a chief revenue officer, Rick Barakat. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. Now it's up to Barakat and Bubba Cunningham to look at every avenue possible, including, Victoria, naming rights to Kenan Stadium. Do you want to rename the Dean Dome something else? Obviously, it could still be the Dean Smith Center, brought to you by Bojangles or whatever it might be. Logo sponsorships on fields, increasing your endowment. Do you sell more booze at games? Because that's something they just started doing recently, was actually selling alcohol at men's and women's basketball games and at football games.
Yeah.
Do you start to do like the brand partnership with local breweries? For example, we've seen, was it like Old Tuffy and there's Mountain Brew? It's like NC State had a partnership beer. Same thing with App State.
Yep.
Do you do that as well, like a licensing agreement with a local brewer or something along those lines? Do you hit up R&D Brewing and hey, let's do like a Tar Heel brew, whatever it is,
even Red Oak, because that's right there.
Yeah, Red Oak. Do that as well. Like whatever it is that you want to do some sort of brand partnering.
Yeah.
Whatever can help generate revenue. I still think that the fact that you can actually sell logo space on your field.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say that you don't have like at the 20-yard line, it goes from, let's say, like the 15-yard line to the 25-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
That you have a big Bojangles logo right there.
Yeah.
Like on each side of the field. Because guess what? If I'm an advertiser, I can sit there and say, well, if Bill Belichick's on this team, they're going to be in some high-profile games. I know that very first game is going to be Monday Night Football on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Paint my logo there because guess what? Not only are people going to see it watching the game, but every time there's highlights of players and highlights of games,
it's there.
There's my logo right there on the field.
Taco Bell should totally do a Taco Bell 20-yarder.
Yeah.
Because then they could say, ring the bell.
Exactly. Ring the bell, whatever it is.
Let's go.
But those are all things that you have to explore.
Yes.
In order to make up this difference. If you're going to be giving out more money in revenue sharing, if you're going to be giving out more money in terms of scholarships, you're not going to be cutting sports, well, you got to make up that gap somehow. And this applies to every school, by the way, not just North Carolina.
Yeah.
This is App, Charlotte, Duke, you name it, State, Wake, all of them. All of them have to be willing to look at every single one of these avenues in order to put themselves in a situation to make up that difference. But also there's a possibility of, at least for State and Carolina, sports gambling money be coming in. Now, we've already understand with sports gambling here in the state of North Carolina that all the state schools from ECU, App, Charlotte, we're talking about ECU, App, Charlotte, I want to say Fayetteville State, I want to say Elizabeth City State, all the state schools, Pembroke, are all going to be giving a piece of the revenue generated from sports gambling. Now, earlier this year, actually really just last month, the state senate, the North Carolina State Senate, I know I don't like talking politics on a show, but these are politicians impacting athletic departments.
Right.
It's an impact. It's related. But the North Carolina State Senate put out a proposal of how much they actually would like to see North Carolina and NC State receive when it comes to revenue sharing. So that's obviously a possibility of them doing it. But then the House has a proposed budget, the House of Representatives in the state of North Carolina, which has a different amount going to UNC and NC State. I want to say over the next couple of years, the state Senate is proposing that roughly around $56 million going each to NC State and UNC, their athletic departments, money coming from sports gambling. Okay, that's where the money's coming from. The taxes generated from sports betting. But the House of Representatives wants to look at it in the sense of, for example, like more like $26 million over the next couple of years to state and Carolina. So all things to consider, all things to sit there and weigh in. How much money are you going to get from sports gambling? It's kind of fascinating to see, and I'm curious to see what other possibilities you are to generate revenue. If you're state Carolina, I'm curious to see what NC State and Duke are going to do, and what Wake is going to do, what Charlotte, App, and these other schools are going to do.
Get creative.
Yeah, you have to get creative, but also, how are you going to divvy up your money? For example, UNC Wilmington, they don't have football, so they can go all in on men's and women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, they're probably also not generating the same amount of revenue because you're obviously not playing in a conference where you're generating football money. So how do you divvy that money up too? Like Brian Murphy just mentioned a few minutes ago, if you're East Carolina, you got a pretty good baseball team, pretty damn good one, and you're known for your baseball program. How much money are you going to put into baseball? All big-time questions.
Mm-hmm.
All big-time questions everyone has to figure out. All right, next one here. For hockey, we saw the Carolina Hurricanes last week. We saw them sign Eric Robinson to a 4-year contract extension, $1.7 million. I'm sure like Tim sat in yesterday, Victoria, for Adam.
Yep.
I like the deal.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fair deal for both sides. Eric Robinson was looking for term because he even mentioned that, hey, you know what? He's a new dad. He's got a family to think about. As opposed to just going and chasing dollars, he wants to have term because there's security with that. So you got a 4-year deal at $1.7 million. There are projections out there from different people that do contract projections in the NHL based off of like metrics and analytics and what other people get. They're projecting possibly a 3-year, $2.4 or $2.3 million deal for Eric Robinson. So like, hey, you actually got really good market value for him. I'm fine with that. But here's the question, is that the Carolina Hurricanes are loaded with wingers. Like overloaded with wingers. So obviously you have up top, you have Svechnikov and Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis. You have Taylor Hall, Logan Stanko, and you have Jordan Martinook, you have Jackson Blake, you still have William Carrier, you have Eric Robinson. And there's 8 wingers right there.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can go play tomorrow if you want to. So you have 8 wingers right there, but you also got to factor in, well, are you going to go after Mitch Marner? Are you going to go after Nikolai Ehlers? How is all this going to shape up? But then you also have to look at, well, what if I want to bring in Bradley Nadeau, who had a 30-plus goal season down in the American Hockey League? He's one of my top young prospects. I want to get him into the NHL lineup. Maybe he comes into camp ready to go. He can play on the defensive side of things like Rob Brindamore wants. Well, then now we've got a backlog. Now, especially if I go after Mitch Marner or Nikolai Ehlers or some of these other guys, well, I still need a center. I still need guys that can get them the puck. Now, you have Mark Jankowski, who I think is as perfect of a fourth-line center as you're going to get. Making $800,000, you can bump over to the wing as well. You have Jordan Stahl. You have Sebastian Aho. There's Jesperi Kotkaniemi, but I think that is fizzled out. There needs to be an upgrade there. Well, if I'm going to make an upgrade there, well, I got to make a trade. Maybe that involves a Jackson Blake, or maybe it involves a Bradley Nadeau if you're trying to make a big swing. Now, we did see yesterday that Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks, who's a center, young guy, like 24 years old, super skilled, but still learning how to play on the defensive side of the puck.
Off to Philly.
Off to Philadelphia for nothing.
Yeah.
For Ryan Palick, who's like a fourth-line center. They got pick number 45 in the draft this weekend and a fourth-round pick next year. That's all they got from Philadelphia. I was like, well, if Anaheim really didn't get a whole lot in return, And Philadelphia got, again, a skilled player who's been really hurt over the last couple of seasons in Trevor Zegras, who's in the last year of a contract but is going to be a restricted free agent after this year. So if there are other teams, I don't think Carolina was in the market for Trevor Zegras. Because I was like, wait, that's all it took to get him? Was that? Really wasn't a whole lot. Now, Philadelphia is stacked with a bunch of picks. You have 3 first-round picks this year and 3 second-round picks this year as well in this year's draft. They're loaded with draft picks. But I don't think Carolina was in the market for Trevor Zegras. I'm not saying that Carolina should have been. Again, I don't think he's good enough on the defensive side of the ice for Carolina to be comfortable. But if other teams that are looking for centers were possibly looking at Trevor Zegras, if Trevor Zegras was like playing C or D, well, guess what? Now that's off the list. Because Matt Duchene's off the table from Dallas. Ryan Donato re-signed with Chicago. I don't think Sam Bennett is going to hit the open market.
Yeah, no.
Brock Nelson re-signed with the Colorado Avalanche. So you're looking at like John Tavares from Toronto, who might still stay in Toronto. Because if Toronto loses him, and also they lose Mitch Marner, they're kind of like, well, wait a second. Things got real thin real fast up here.
Mm-hmm.
So he might still stay in Toronto. He might not even hit July 1st to become a free agent. Well, who else is out there?
Yeah.
There's not really much of anything. So now that Zegras has been moved, the market gets a little bit more thin. And this is where Carolina might be able to swing things in part of a deal. But it might be more than just them trading directly for a center for another team. So we'll get into this a little bit later on, Victoria, but obviously the big fish out there in free agency is Mitch Marner from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Paul Ihander, who's our boss, who also hosts a show in Raleigh on 99.9 The Fan from 9 to 10 called Next Up, he spoke this morning about you got to go after Mitch Marner if you can, because if you look at this team going forward, Svech is a 20-goal scorer, Aho is a 20-plus goal scorer, and Seth Jarvis is a 20-plus goal scorer. That's all you have on this team. Jack Roslovic's not coming back.
Yeah.
He's not. Jack Roslovic had, 21 goals this past season? Now, granted, 12 of them came in the first 20 games of the season, but you only have 3 20-goal scorers on this roster. 3. Now, Logan Stankoven, I think, eventually can become a 20-plus goal scorer, but can he have a center that can get him the puck? Now, he fits well defensively playing alongside Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook, but I don't know if he's going to generate the offense playing with those two guys. But can Carolina, if they can't get Mitch Marner, by all accounts, Mitch Marner, like a lot of people, a lot of the experts, like Elliot Friedman, some of these others are saying, hey, you know what? Mitch Marner, he's like destined to go to Vegas.
Right.
Well, Vegas has less than $10 million in cap space. You can't sign Mitch Marner to a $13 million deal if you don't have $13 million to spend. Well, guess what? That means, well, they got to move somebody. This is where Carolina could potentially swoop in. Hey, I can get better deal on, let's say, for example, a lot of people are throwing out the name Tomas Hertl, which I don't know if that deal potentially could work out. Hertl has 5 years left on his deal. He's 31 years old. And he's a bigger body guy, can play center or wing. And it's like around $6.75 million. And again, he's 31 years old, 5 more years left on his deal. So you're talking about taking up to like age 35, 36. Or do you sit there and go after a William Karlsson, who has 2 years left on his deal at $5.9 million, who might fit in perfectly for you as a number 2 center? Now, he's been a number 2 center, especially over the last couple of years since now that Jack Eichel is a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Maybe you go after William Karlsson, but you don't have to give up a whole lot, knowing that Vegas needs to make a move in order for them to get a deal done. So now you can kind of hold Vegas at ransom. You can also tell the Vegas Golden Knights, hey, look, remember that deal we did with you guys a couple years ago when you guys needed cap relief and we took Max Pacioretty and Dylan Coghlan for you?
Yeah.
And now it was for quote-unquote future considerations, which literally was just like, we're going to give you Max Pacioretty. Now, Carolina only got 5 games out of Max Pacioretty because of his Achilles injuries. But do you sit there and say, hey, look, we did you guys a solid. we'll take William Karlsson off of you. Here's like a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why.
And now I get William Karlsson potentially for 2 years at $5.9 million.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot more easier for me to stomach. Now I can still use Kokiniemi as part of another deal. Or you just keep Kokiniemi as like, play him as your fourth-line center. Maybe you don't have to give up a player. Or now I've got more money that I can put in to go after a defenseman or make a trade for another top-end scoring forward. That potentially could be the move. Gotta wait and see. Now, again, Tomas Hertl, again, that rumor's been floating around from, hey, Vegas could send him to Carolina. That way they could sign Mitch Marner. I don't know how much validity there is to that. We'll see. You never know. Victoria, we might hear something in the next... You might hear something today. You might hear something by Friday. You just don't know because it's that time of year. But we are seeing moves being made.
And this is why I want to see Eric Tulsky cook. Like, I'm excited to see what he comes up with because we all know he's very intelligent. So you know he's got something up his sleeve. And it may not be obvious. That's what I'm excited for. Like, I'm waiting for everybody to be like, their mind's blown because he made some, like, 5-leg deal with, like, 3 different teams. It would be great. I could see him come up with something like that. I'm here for it.
We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, there was apparently some smoke out there about, hey, Tomas Hertl, Carolina Hurricanes, which again would open up cap space for Vegas to go after Mitch Marner. We'll dive more into the Mitch Marner stuff a little bit later on. We shall see. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show as always. I was out for a little bit of time. Birthday, sick, illness. I have some things, Victoria, that I need to get off of my chest. I'm going to rant for you in 4 minutes.
Nice.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Every offseason, I tell myself, don't fall for it. Don't get excited by minicamp highlights. And then you see one grainy clip from the sideline of Bryce Young throwing a deep ball to Teteroa McMillan, and I fall for the trap every time. Teteroa McMillan, Rookie of the Year, 10 touchdowns, book it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Hey, how long will this take?
Just 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out. That's super fast. Super fast like an F1 pit stop.
Sir.
Huh?
We're all done. I even topped off your fluid and checked your tires.
But I was so close to the finish line.
Get in and out fast with Take 5, the stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change. And check out F1 the movie starring Brad Pitt only in theaters June 27th. Rated PG-13.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the baron of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, prime member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business, and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Find what you love, love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself? Because that, I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgers-y of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
Oh, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
So, it seems like this whole Tomas Hertl, Carolina Hurricanes bit has really captivated Canes fans.
Big time.
It seems that way. Now, again, it was just like a rumor and a word that was floating around. There's some beat writers and some people that were throwing out like, hey, apparently Vegas is looking to move on from Tomas Hertl, looking to potentially send him off to an Eastern Conference team, unload that salary of $6.75 million. That way they can free up cap space to go sign Mitch Marner. Because if they get rid of Tomas Hertl, they just able to clear him off the books. Like, hey, trade him for picks and prospects type deal. Clear him off the books along with the cap space that they have. They would have roughly about $17 million in cap space. Which then you can use, 13 of that to go sign Mitch Marner. Then the other $4 million you have, you got to go kind of piece together a little bit with your other roster spots that you got to fill. Including eventually you are going to need to sign Jack Eichel to a contract extension. He's in the last year of his contract making $10 million.
I would love to have Jack Eichel.
I mean, I would too. Don't get me wrong. Please do not get me wrong. But I don't see Vegas just willingly giving him up a number one center like that. I would love to see him in Carolina. Gosh, him as a 1C and Aho as your second center.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
He's spunky.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
He's an absolutely great player. By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria producing the show. Victoria, as I mentioned before the break, that I've been dealing with was a little sick, missed some time, had some PTO already scheduled due to, celebrating a birthday and all that good stuff. So there's some things that I missed from the sports world, especially over this past weekend, that I got to get off my chest.
Okay.
That I have to get off my chest. On Saturday, watching the College World Series over the weekend, or Sunday. Sorry, I was watching Sunday. I was watching a little bit of the College World Series on Sunday between Coastal Carolina and LSU. By the way, LSU, their pitcher on Saturday, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, game 1, 10 strikeouts, shutout, 1-0 win. Awesome performance by him. We're in the bottom of the first inning in game 2 of the College World Series. And Coastal Carolina's head coach in the bottom of the first gets ejected for arguing balls and strikes. Now, he said something, this is literally like 9 or 10 pitches into the game, or into the bottom of that inning. And he said something to the umpire. Umpire said, like, hey, go back to your dugout. Coach said one more thing. Ump ejects him. Dude, to the home plate umpire, you stink. I'm sorry. Like read the room.
Yeah.
This isn't a Tuesday night playing against South Carolina Upstate or Gardner-Webb or something like that. Not to try to disrespect those programs, but you get my point. This is game 2 of the College World Series. Like, have a little bit of leeway for a coach to voice his opinion. Yeah. Now, if you need to walk over to him, like, hey, coach, let's have this conversation here real quick. Let's go. I'm going to hear you out. And then, hey, we're going to have this conversation. You're going to go back to the dugout, and I'm going to go back to home plate. But I'm going to hear you out. If I hear anything more, then that's going to be that. But instantly, it's just like, all right, you're ejected.
Mm-hmm.
You're ejected. Of course, the head coach is like, you're going to run me now?
Yeah.
In the bottom of the first? Like, wasn't really anything egregious.
No.
It's not like he got in the guy's face or anything. And then, sure enough, like, he's yelling at the home plate umpire. He's going to get his money's worth, right, on this ejection.
Might as well.
And then another one of the umpires comes in, tries to step in the way, ends up tripping over another umpire's foot.
Right.
And they're going to sit there and say, well, he pushed me down, bumped me down, automatically puts like 2 fingers up, like automatic 2-game suspension. It's like, are you kidding me? And then the first base coach comes down. It's like, why'd you eject him and all that? Then he gets run.
Yeah. And there's video of him falling over his own feet.
Oh, it's hilarious. Like, dude, you're just embarrassed.
Right.
You're embarrassed. And now the story, once again, with baseball is umpires. Once again, is umpires. Like, dude, I understand that, like, the rules are written that, like, if you give a warning and stuff that you can eject a coach. I understand, like, what the letter of the law is. But this is where I say to like, officials, read the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Read the room. Like, understand what's at stake here. Read the room.
First inning, though.
Bottom of the first. Now, again, if it was like a persistent thing, like if he was doing it in the first inning, give him a warning, and the third inning rolls around, like, all right, coach, that's enough. Right. And then we get into like the 6th. All right, coach, now you're gone. It's like now you've like completely impacted the game as an umpire in an unnecessary way.
It's like he came in mad.
Yeah.
Like something bad happened at the house, and now he's upset, and he's taking it out on him.
Sorry, umpires are soft. Like, golly, like, have some thick skin. Have some thick skin. I actually, when I was in college and a couple years after I graduated, I would umpire. I actually used to umpire, even though I played lacrosse in college. I used to umpire because baseball was my first love growing up. I started umpiring when I was like 12. And I would umpire as high as like high-end like AAU, like in these travel tournaments and stuff. And I would hear it from coaches. I'd hear it from parents. Like, I get it. You just got to have some thick skin. Sometimes you just got to walk over and just like tell a coach at some point, like between innings, like, hey, coach, I'm hearing you. Like, but we got to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a warning right now. We got to settle down. Like, and you have that level of respect.
Yeah.
But on a national stage, again, read the room. Okay, so I got to get it off my chest. Umps, get some skin. Grow up. All right, the second one, NBA Finals on Sunday, Game 7 of the Tyrese Halliburton, the injury. That just sucks.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it felt like we kind of got robbed of what potentially could have been a great Game 7, just with Halliburton not being on the floor. I know Indiana had the 1-point lead at halftime, but just felt like eventually Oklahoma City was just going to pull away, and that's, of course, what happened. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what an awesome season. Finals MVP, first-team All-NBA, League MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP, score. Like, it just awesome season for SGA. Speaking of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, someone who was originally drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. Can the Charlotte Hornets stop drafting great players for other teams?
Please.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kobe Bryant, I don't know. Those names ring a bell to you? Oh, because they're MVPs with titles now. They were drafted by the Charlotte Hornets and never played a game for the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
Stop drafting great players for other teams. I say that with the draft coming up tomorrow.
Yep.
Stop drafting great players for other teams. Finally, speaking of Oklahoma City, Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
Could they have looked any less excited having won an NBA title? Like after the game, they're just kind of like, yeah, cool, like let's shake hands and all that kind of stuff. Like it was a Wednesday,
hey guys,
like
you won.
game 46 of the regular season. Hey man, good run.
Right.
Like, hey, good. Like you're at the YMCA. Like if they're just playing a pickup. Like, yeah, this is our court time's over. Hey guys, good run, man. I appreciate you guys coming out and playing. That was fun. That's how their reaction was afterwards. Like you just won the NBA title at home in Game 7. Could you? My beer league hockey team, when we won a championship 2 summers ago, we were more excited. That's for beer league hockey, which no one watches because the games are at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
Maybe we were just like so excited then because the championship game was like at 5:30. We were just like, hey, we still have the rest of the day. We can go eat dinner. Could you look any less excited that you just won an NBA title?
It's crazy.
It was shocking to me. I was like no one's like running on the court. Like no one's like throwing the ball up in the air. No like big group pile up in the middle of the court, something like that. I mean, I know I'm not the only person that's seen it, I'm sure, but on social media, like they're showing the comparisons of like when the Florida Panthers won their title and how they celebrated.
Oh, they're still celebrating.
On the ice. Well, I'm just talking on the ice right after the final buzzer went off.
Yeah.
They're all piling up on each other, having a great time, passing the cup around, all that stuff. Oklahoma City's like walking off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, that's it? Okay? No, you guys just been building this stuff up for a few years now, and now you won it. All right, cool, guys.
No big deal.
Wow, yeah. Speaking of the Florida Panthers and their partying, Victoria.
Oh, my goodness.
I think those guys are going to dry out maybe by Thanksgiving.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like,
put them in a bubble because, yeah.
Those guys are going to get those guys IVs and fluids.
And
that don't contain alcohol in
I
it.
feel like their goal is literally to irritate every single team in the league before next season starts, too.
Oh, and they have every right to. You win back-to-back titles. You can say whatever you want.
And they are.
And you know what? The other 31 teams in the league just got to sit back there and take it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they've got the cup twice in a row. You just got to sit there and go, yep, okay. Like Brad Marchand just trolling everybody. You see what I don't know if you saw this on Brad Marchand on Instagram was posting pictures of his teammates who have played for other franchises at some point, saying thank you and tagging the other team.
Yep.
Like, for example, Gustav Forsling used to be a part of the Carolina Hurricanes organization, one of their top defensemen for the Florida Panthers. And he took a picture of Forsling and said thanks and tagged the Canes in it. It's like, yeah, well done.
It happens.
Like, take the picture of Sam Reinhart. Thank you, Buffalo Sabres.
Right.
You know, it's just that's what he was doing.
We got Canes all over the place, actually.
And you know what? When you win the cup, you can do that stuff.
Yeah.
You have every single right to do so.
They are.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. Victoria, there's the rumors again floating around, possibly Tomas Hertl, Carolina Hurricanes. I don't see it happening, but is there a new Carolina Hurricane that's going to be teeing up some one-timers this upcoming season? We'll have our own one-timers next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today. The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
If you missed any of the Adam Gold Show, make sure you check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Also, you can check out the Adam Gold Show on YouTube. If you go on 99.9 The Fan. Go on YouTube. Search 99.9 The Fan. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. Just search it right there. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel for 99.9 The Fan. And you can watch the show live. You can also check out clips from this show. You can leave comments. We love when people interact with the show. And Victoria, that's where some people can submit one-timers, questions that they might have, Victoria. What do we have for one-timers today?
Okay, so we do have a couple of participants.
Okay.
First up, so there's been a lot of chatter about the Hertl rumors and him maybe coming to the Canes. So basically, in a nutshell, people are asking, is there any kind of legs to these rumors?
I personally don't see it. I don't know if Hertl, there are a couple hurdles involved in this. Pun intended there, Victoria.
I love it.
So here's a couple things about Tomas Hertl that, to me, set me back just a little bit. One of them is his contract. Because it's only $6.75 million a year. Well, it's also for 5 more years. And if I'm going to make a move for someone that's 5 more years left on a contract, I want to do that for somebody that is not going to be on the wrong side of 30. So he becomes a free agent at the end of the 2029-2030 season. So again, 5 more years left at $6.75 million. So to me, I don't think the contract ages well, especially at him trying to be your number 2 center. I don't think he actually has, and there's the numbers that back this up fully. I don't think he actually has the foot speed to skate in Carolina's system. If you actually look, like for example, the NHL tracks this stuff in terms of skating speed, bursts, and all those kinds of things. If you look at the skate, just the simple, just foot speed of Tomas Hertl. If you look at his top speed, he's below the 50th percentile among all skaters in the NHL. Times he's able to reach over 22 miles per hour, that burst of speed. 0 this past season. The league averaged about 3.7 for skaters. Now, granted, like, you have Tomas Hertl at 0, and obviously there's a Connor McDavid who might have like a whole lot. But again, their average is around just under 4. He's in the bottom 50th percentile, obviously, with that. Skate speed of 20 to 22 miles per hour, 36 this past season. The league average is 73. So literally like half of that. Yeah. Bottom 50%. Even just 18 to 20 mile per hour bursts. Bottom 50%. Below the 50th percentile across the entire league. So the skating speed is not necessarily there. And you don't magically get faster as you get older.
No.
You don't magically get faster as you get older. I think if, in all honesty, people might sit there and say, oh yeah, he could be our number 2C, maybe for a year or 2, but eventually you're probably going to have to move him to the wing. And the way defensemen skate in the NHL now, and the way the Carolina Hurricanes play their system, I got to trust him to skate with some of the top defensemen in the league. Well, guess what? If I can't trust you on the defensive side of the ice, I can't play you late in games, especially when things are tight. Now, I love where he scores a majority of his goals, which are like in the blue paint in the crease or just above that in the low slot, those high danger areas. I love where he scores his goals, but I don't think he skates well enough to be on this team. So if they don't make a move for him, that's totally fine. Again, he's a bigger body guy. He's 6'3", 220. But there's a guy, like, for example, Matty Nyes from Toronto, who's a similarly built guy, like 6'3", 220, a younger player, but is in the 89th percentile of top speed, the top 65 percentile of, like, high-speed bursts, like fast-paced bursts, top 75% of, like, 20 to 22 mile per hour speed bursts, top 75%. Like, this guy can skate much better. I don't know if if Tomas Hertl can skate with Carolina in their system.
Yeah.
Hope that answers that question.
Well, moving on, sticking with Canes, also from our YouTube stream, we have a question. Who do you think the first player the Canes should get, because the NHL Draft is later this week?
First guy that they should get either via free agency or via just trade, or just first in general.
I am assuming just first in general.
Okay, first in general.
Specific.
So unless you are trading for the rights to go ahead and negotiate a contract with Mitch Marner right now, much like we saw last year with Jake Guentzel getting traded to Tampa Bay before the draft, Carolina got a 3rd-round pick for Tampa just to negotiate with Jake Guentzel and him not even hit free agency. Unless you're making that move, there's a guy out there by the name of Rasmus Andersson, who's a defenseman for the Calgary Flames, whose name has been linked a lot with Carolina. He's also been linked a lot with Ottawa and with Columbus. Like, those are 3 teams apparently that are very high on Rasmus Andersson. He's 28 years old, going into the last year of his contract. The advanced numbers and stuff look really well, even though some of the counting stats didn't look great this past year. But the expected goals and such looked really good, and again, think fit Carolina and can skate well. Skates much faster than Brent Burns does at this point of his career. And he's 28 years old, going into the last year of his contract. You can sign him to a contract extension when he's with the team. That's a name that I would potentially go after is Rasmus Andersson. Because he'll be a guy that can skate right there, right side of your top pairing alongside Jacob Slavin. And guess what? When you play alongside Jacob Slavin, all of a sudden you become a better player because you got the ultimate defensive defenseman skating alongside you to help cover up for any mistake. So I think that might be the play, because then you actually took a position of strength and actually made it even stronger. Now, it might cost you Scott Morrow. We're going to dive into this a little bit later on the show. It might cost you Scott Morrow, but that's a deal I'm willing to make. What else we got there?
Let's see here. We also have... so I asked this of Tim yesterday.
Okay.
We have the NBA draft starting tomorrow.
Yeah, we
so
do.
aside from Cooper Flagg, everyone should know that he's going to go first unless something crazy happens.
Really haven't heard that.
Who would be, look at the Vegas odds. Woo! Who would be the next ACC guy, in your opinion, that you think will be grabbed up in the draft?
Oh, I think it's Con Knippel. And don't be surprised if Knippel goes number 4 to Charlotte. I was actually thinking about this, yesterday and earlier today. We'll dive more into draft a little bit tomorrow, but one of the things that impressed me about watching Con Knippel this past season was, A, he's super unselfish. I mean, Cooper Flagg is also very unselfish in and of himself as well, but Knippel can fit with any situation on the floor. Like, put any 4 guys out there with Con Knippel and he'll make it work. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. But we did see in the ACC tournament when Cooper Flagg went down with the ankle injury. Well, guess who won ACC tournament MVP and took over? It was Con Knippel. If he goes to Charlotte and plays alongside Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, I think it'd be pretty awesome. More on the UNC next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcasts.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger, and you can get started now by saving when you join today. We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need, and you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends June 27th. Proud partner of the Carolina Hurricanes.
See Home Club for details.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Happy anniversary, RTP. At Lenovo, we're proudly celebrating 20 years of calling the Triangle home. That's 2 decades of empowering future innovators through our local partnerships and championing smarter technology for all. And we're just getting started.
Discover a new role with the Wake County Public School System. We're hiring special education instructional assistants and bus drivers, and we need dedicated individuals to help transport kids and provide instruction to eager students. You'll love our recently increased salaries and comprehensive benefits, including retirement, and will enjoy a welcoming, positive culture that will motivate you every day. Apply now at careers.wcpss.net and discover a place where anything is possible.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Right now, there is one player in history to have 3 consecutive seasons scoring 25 points a game on 50-40 shooting. It's Kevin Durant, and that streak is active. He's done it the last 3 years, and I gave you numbers that demonstrate that his defense has been well above average. He's got blocks and steals, and when he played, his team was over 500 this year. When he didn't, they were 3-17. Kevin Durant, like Steph and like LeBron, has not really diminished that much. I think that the Rockets got him for, comparatively speaking, a song, and it is an unbelievably good trade for them.
Starting to see deals in the NBA. Starting to see deals in the NHL, Victoria. NBA draft is tomorrow and Thursday. They decided to split it up over 2 days, which is so dumb.
Yep.
Like,
stretch it out.
Like, let's be real. Does anyone really care about the second round of the NBA draft?
No.
Like, let's be honest. Legit question. Not many people do.
Other than their moms. That's it.
Hey, moms, dads, all that stuff.
Yep.
But not saying you can't find value in the second round. Like, let's be honest. Doesn't mean you can't find value in the second round with players. But yeah, I feel like NBA teams, even in and of themselves, don't even care about second round picks.
No.
As a whole. But anyway, so the NBA draft is tomorrow and Thursday. The NHL draft is Friday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely be talking a little bit more about that because there's all these rumors. There was a rumor floating around this morning about Tomas Hertl and the Carolina Hurricanes, but that seemed to have fizzled out even faster than the rumor decided to even gain any sort of traction. Trust me, we'll discuss that for sure. But let's go ahead and get into take 2, Victoria. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vonecker producing the show today. In the world of college sports, we saw the Carolina Tar Heels, UNC. Their athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, posted a letter on their website yesterday about what their plans are for revenue sharing this upcoming year. So only 4 sports are going to be getting money of revenue sharing for UNC this year. Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball. Now, part of the House versus NCAA settlement, which, by the way, the House is the last name of a person. It's not the House of Representatives versus the NCAA.
It's just a heck of a coincidence.
It just happens to be like, wait a second. Especially since the NCAA has been lobbying so much on Capitol Hill for federal regulations and all that stuff. So part of that House versus NCAA settlement was payments to former players, as well as the revenue sharing possibility now for schools up to $20.5 million this year that can increase by 4% each over the next several years as part of this settlement, where schools can directly share their revenue and pay athletes directly. Now, up to $20.5 million. UNC again announced 4 sports they're going to share revenue with. They sponsor 28, but 4 sports they're going to share revenue with. Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball. Now, football, men's basketball, women's basketball, they drive the lion's share of revenue in college athletic departments. Particularly football, followed by men's basketball. Women's basketball generally is third for most schools. Then baseball, for a lot of schools, can generate at least some amount of revenue. Now, based off what we saw with Bill Belichick's contract that was released out to the public, that football at North Carolina will be getting $13 million in revenue to share. That's about 63% of that $20.5 million. So that leaves $7.5 million for everyone else. Now, the question is $5 million of that going to basketball? Is $5.5? If women's basketball is going to get, let's say, roughly around 5% of this $20.5 million, well, you're looking at about $1 million or so. Now, does like another $1 million go to baseball, or is it $750,000? Is it $500,000? Again, I don't know the percentages of that specifically for those other sports, but we did see, again, based off Bill Belichick's contract, $13 million in revenue sharing. Now, let's keep in mind that athletes can still generate money off third-party NIL deals. For example, if there's a really high, like Caleb Wilson, North Carolina basketball, right? Highly touted recruit, one of the top guys in the country coming in, 5-star kid. Let's say, for example, Powerade or Gatorade wants to strike a deal with him. Hey, be in a couple commercials, do some photo shoots and things along those lines, do some social media stuff, and he strikes a deal with Gatorade or Powerade or whomever. He can do that on his own, outside of what he's going to be getting paid directly from the school. So there is still that. Now you got to go through the whole NCAA's, like their whole clearinghouse thing and all that kind of stuff. That's a different conversation. But 4 sports, football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, that North Carolina is going to be sharing money with. That 4 sports is not unique to just North Carolina. For example, Ohio State is just going to be sharing money with 4 sports. We've seen some schools announce like 5 or 6. Now, not every school has announced what their plans are. We haven't heard from NC State, Duke, Wake, Charlotte, ECU, App. We haven't heard from some of these other schools. But just because you aren't sharing revenue with your other sports doesn't mean other sports are going to be left behind. No revenue sharing at North Carolina for women's soccer or women's lacrosse, who just won national championships. Field hockey, a team that's won 5 of the last 7 national championships. I know they did not win it this past year, but still 5 of the last 7 titles. That doesn't mean those athletes aren't going to be getting money. Let's not forget, again, players can receive money outside of the revenue share through other NIL deals. And my guess, based off a couple of people that I talked to, that those sports that I just mentioned, women's soccer, women's lacrosse, field hockey, I'll even include men's soccer, like men's lacrosse, track and field, all these other sports, that they're probably already taken care of with third-party outside NIL deals that can still be possibly funneled through their collectives, that I think these athletes are going to be taken care of financially in terms of like, hey, look, you're not going to lose anything, all right? Now, one way to help athletes is the fact that there are roster limits now for each sport that are going to take effect, but there are also no scholarship limits. So athletes that are on partial scholarship can now receive full rides. I think there's a misconception or a little bit of a misperception here, Victoria, when it comes to college athletics. Not every athlete is on a full scholarship. Now, there are sports that are known as head count sports. We're talking football, men's and women's basketball. I think it's women's tennis, women's volleyball, and I think women's gymnastics. They're known as head count sports. So if you receive a scholarship, full ride. Full ride. No half, no breaking up, full ride. Now, other sports like lacrosse, field hockey, baseball, softball, track and field, swimming, they're known as equivalency sports. So I'm going to use Victoria. You're a swimmer, right?
I did.
You could have, if you swam at, name the school. I know you went to UNCG as well as, I think you went to App as well,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, App didn't have a swimming program.
Let's say they did.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, hey, Victoria, for you to come swim here at App State, we can give you a 50% scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So half your school, and we'll see, throw your room and board included. Now, you're on the hook for the other half, but hey, to go swim, that's good, right? For some people. For some, depending on the sport, like, again, I played lacrosse in college, so it could be like, hey, we're going to offer you a 25%. Or, hey, we'll give you 25% scholarship, along with we'll cover the cost of your books as well. So those are kinds of things that now, with this new settlement, you can just get full rides.
Yeah.
So if I'm an athlete that is maybe on a partial scholarship and I got a little bit of NIL money, well, I might be funneling that into just paying my tuition. Well, now if my tuition and everything is covered, okay, well, that helps me tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, North Carolina did announce that their total number of scholarships is jumping from 338 to 532.
That's a big
It's a massive leap.
Yeah,
it's a massive,
double.
nearly 200.
Yeah.
Now, they're still sponsoring 28 sports. Now, because of roster limits, the roster sizes won't be as large, but you're still going to have more people under scholarship. Like, again, I coached lacrosse, played lacrosse. You have roughly on a men's lacrosse roster, 40 to 50 guys. Roughly around 45 is around the number. I could put possibly all 45 of those guys on scholarship. That helps me a ton in recruiting. And if I'm an athlete, that helps me a bunch as well. So those are all things we have to keep in mind when it comes to what these schools are going to be decided to do. Everyone's trying to figure it all out on the fly. No one really knows. Schools have an idea, but Bubba Cunningham did mention that, hey, you know what? We're going to just relook at this annually. If we got to give more to basketball, we got to give more to football. If we got to give, hey, you know what? We got to give more to our soccer and lacrosse teams, whatever it might be. Now, again, those programs, like, again, at North Carolina, like women's soccer, some of these others are so well established as teams that, again, they can get outside NIL deals and still be perfectly fine and not lose money that they've made in the past in terms of NIL and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what now, as an athletic department, that means I can put more money into basketball, whatever these things might be. Now, we'll dive a little bit more into how North Carolina and NC State, Duke, Wake, and all these other schools can generate revenue outside of what they traditionally have been doing. I think there's also a little bit of a misperception, Victoria, when it comes to scholarships in college athletics. The school still gets paid that tuition money. The athletic department has to raise that money to cover the costs of the scholarship.
Right.
So I got to pay. Basically, the school has to. I'm saying, take this back. The athletic department has to pay the school. They just don't walk down to the registrar's office and go like, all right, Victoria Vodenecker, she's a swimmer. All right, let's just go ahead and make her balance $0.
Right.
All right, you're good to go. We'll go ahead and head to class.
Gotta come
No.
somewhere.
No. The athletic department has to take a check on over to the registrar's office and go like, this is for Victoria Vodenecker.
Mm-hmm.
Here's her scholarship and tuition money for this year. All right, cool. Check clears. All right, you can go to class now. Now you can play. North Carolina, the school still gets their money. It's up to the athletic department to raise that money to cover the cost of the tuitions. It's not just as simple as, again, going down to the school business office and go, yeah, I just need you to put a 0 right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
you can't
not
use that
how it
tactic
works.
at like a bar or something. Be like, yeah, so I kind of paid my tab. Just put a 0 there.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like, hey, look, your money's no good here. Like, just take the drink and go.
Right.
Like, that's not how that works.
No.
The school or the athletic departments have to raise the money to pay the school. It's weird how it works. Athletic departments essentially work as their own like small businesses that they have to pay the money to the school. That's a misconception by a lot of people. It's like, well, okay, just your full scholarship now. Yeah, that money's got to come from somewhere. Someone still has to pay that tab. So yeah, North Carolina, 4 schools are getting money from revenue. 4 sports are getting money from revenue. We'll see if it pays off. They'll look at it again annually. We'll see how the money all gets divvied up. I'm curious to see, Victoria, if there are some schools out there that are like, look, we're giving it to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Football, basketball, or men's basketball, women's basketball. That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
And it would not shock me one bit.
No.
Would not surprise me at all.
Nope.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Votenecker producing the show as always. Who are potential future Carolina Hurricanes, and where do they rank? A blind ranking next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Canes fans, your team will be turned upside down.
I said upside down, you're turning me. You're giving love instinctively. Round and round, you're turning me.
Listen all week for our coverage of the Canes free agent frenzy. Instant reaction to all the Canes additions and moves, and the latest signings from across the NHL. It's the Canes free agent frenzy on 99.9 The Fan. Driven by John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and get to Heister.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here again to celebrate this month's Scholar Athlete of the Month. Today, we are at Sanderson High School, where we announce and celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Nathan Fife.
He's a guy with good work ethic, and he leads by example, off the court and on the court.
He's a great guy to be around. He's fun. He's always in a positive mindset, or he's working hard in the gym every day. That's how I describe him, really.
He's always doing the right thing, and he's someone that you can trust and feel comfortable around, and always looking out for the best interest of others, for sure.
What does it mean to win this award?
It means everything. I mean, it's something you start off at the beginning of the season, just coming in every day and working hard, and this kind of comes along with that, because I think if you put in the time and effort, that these things will come naturally, and I think I did a good job of that. Probably the biggest people that's helped me along, my family. They're helping me work out every day in the off season, and they're at all my games. They've been a really big support system for me. And then my coaches, they've been there every step of the way, and my coaches and teammates, they push me every day in practice, and that's helped me get to where I am today.
Congratulations, Nathan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Dauntless Transmissions has been the trusted transmission shop in Raleigh for more than 27 years. But why do they call it Dauntless Transmissions? Well, dauntless means showing fearlessness and determination. Now, the experts at Dauntless Transmission are dauntless when it comes to caring for your vehicle. Whether that means a total transmission rebuild, complex engine or brake service, or just a routine tune-up, your vehicle will be dauntless when they're done with it. Visit dauntlesstransmissions.com. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's take the dogs hiking.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
Let's dig out all the paint supplies and go ahead and start bickering while we're trapped in a room with paint fumes.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
This is Adam Adam Gold.
There will be tushes pushed in the NFL in 2025.
Push and tushes.
There you go.
Happy Hump Day!
That's brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
So this is the time of speculation and rumors and information pouring out at the rate of a fire hose. When it comes to the NHL, when it comes to hockey, especially since the Carolina Hurricanes seem to be at the forefront of every possible trade, every possible free agent signing, because of what the Carolina Hurricanes have built up in terms of both draft capital, their prospects, even current players that they might be willing to trade, and the cap space that they have available. By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria producing the show. There are constantly rumors, Victoria, about, hey, this player might be on the move. Carolina Hurricanes? Hey, this player is going to be available in free agent. Carolina Hurricanes? There are a lot of names being floated around, Victoria, from, I mean, heck, I've even floated around the name myself, Tage Thompson. There's Jason Robertson's name from Dallas has been floating around out there. Now Tomas Hertl from the Vegas Golden Knights, his name's getting floated around out there. Mitch Marner, potential free agent. There's Noah Dobson, Rasmus Anderson, John Gibson, all these different names. People have pointed back to put that player somewhere in a ranking 1 through 5. Again, blind ranking. I don't know the 5 names Victoria is going to give me. I just listed like 8 myself.
Right.
I don't know what names Victoria is going to give me, but I'm going to rank these people 1 through 5 based off of a blind ranking. I don't know the names. Potential future Carolina Hurricanes. Let's rank them, V. Let's go.
Okay. So, I also did a little research to see who was available to kind of see what's out there.
All right.
So, there might be some names that have not been mentioned.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go.
First up, Marco Rossi, who's an Australian hockey player from the Minnesota Wild. He's a small center,
He is.
and he had 60 points last season.
Yeah, he's a smaller center. He's like, he's basically built like Seth Jarvis, even a little bit smaller. He's like, 5'9" player, not a big guy. And he actually fell out of favor a little bit with Minnesota. He was playing like 4th line in the playoffs for him. I think John Hines is their head coach, former Nashville head coach. Marco Rossi, I would probably, he is a center, so there's a position of need, but I'm not super high on him being a Carolina Hurricane long term. I'm going to put him at 4.
Okay.
I'll put him at 4 just to leave in case there's someone else out there I don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a name that a lot of people have been mentioning. Why not throw out Mitch Marner?
Mitch Marner, I think I'm going to put him at number 1.
Okay.
I will go ahead and put him at number 1 again, just because I don't know what other names are going to be floating out there, V. But Mitch Marner defensively can play perfectly in this system.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that cannot be lost. Certainly, he can put up the points. We had 100-point seasons. This Carolina Hurricanes team has 3 players that are going to be coming back next year that are 20-goal scorers. It's Svetch, it's Aho, it's Jarvis. That's it. They need people that can produce points. And Mitch Marner can do that. And it also would allow you to spread out some of the scoring. Because now, as opposed to just loading up Aho, Svetch, and Jarvis on one line, you can have Aho and Marner. And then you can have, Jarvis and Svetch as a wing pair together, whatever it might be. I think that is something that we have to keep in mind, is that 2 things. He brings a scoring touch, but also can play defensively, which is the biggest thing you have to do in Rod's system. If you can't skate, if you can't play on the defensive end of the ice, well, Rod's not going to trust you out there late in the game. Simple as that. If it's, hey, guess what? It's a 3-2 game. I got to trust that you can make the right plays defensively and can skate. Otherwise, I can't put you out there, which what good are you if your butt's glued to the bench and you're paying $13-14 million a year? So I would put Marner at 1.
Okay, moving on to this. I was interested in some of these articles I was reading. Next up, Alex Tuck. He's in his. I know. He's. Me too. So he's with the Buffalo Sabres. It's in his final year of his contract. He is coming off of a 36-goal, 31-assist season for the Sabres, and he's also a big power forward.
I talk about defense. The dude can kill penalties, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am a huge, massive Alex Tuck fan.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Tuck making $4.75 million this season. Big guy, 6'4", 215, 216, 220, whatever it is. And like you just mentioned, put up 34 goals last year, 30 assists.
Yep, 36 goals, 31 assists.
Oh, he had such a good season.
Mm-hmm.
And he had... A couple years ago playing for Buffalo, he had a 36-goal, 43-assist season. I mean, this guy can score, put up points. He's a big-body guy, can skate really, really well. So at blind ranking, I already have Marco Rossi at 4.
Yep.
I put Mitch Marner at 1. I am very tempted. Oh. He's either 2 or 3. I'm a huge Alex Tuck fan.
Yeah, he's a good one.
He really is. Oh, gosh.
He's also 29, so he's not technically 30.
He's
yet.
not. And if you extended him for a few more seasons, I would absolutely love that. He skates so well. I'm going to put him at 2. Okay. I can't be just falling head over heels about this guy and put him at number 3. I absolutely am a huge Alex Tuck fan. I actually thought when he was picked up in the expansion draft from Minnesota, it's like, oh, okay, like, I've heard good things about this guy. And then he did well in the playoffs and everything with Vegas out there. I mean, it's just... Yeah, I cannot say enough good things about Alex Tuck and the way he plays, the way he skates. Again, he can play all situations. He can kill penalties, too, which is an awesome thing because we already know how great Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho do when it comes to generating shorthanded goals. Imagine having another guy that can do that, too. Yes, Alex Tuck.
Yeah.
Put him at number 2.
All day.
So I got Marner 2, Marner 1, Tuck 2, Marco Rossi 4 here on the blind ranking of potential future Carolina Hurricanes. V, who's next?
All right. Next up, I also found this one very interesting because this is someone who could potentially work well with Bradley Nadeau.
All right.
So Noah Dobson from the Islanders. He would be a great blue liner. However, there was talk of maybe him not being worth $11 million.
He's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who has a ton of offensive upside.
Mm-hmm.
He fits the profile of a player. I'm going to put him at number 3. Noah Dobson at number 3. He fits the profile of like the perfect guy that can skate alongside Jacob Slavin. In terms of that right-handed puck mover who can carry the puck up the ice, generate a lot of offense, and obviously Jacob Slavin covering for him on the other side. He fits perfectly from a profile standpoint. It's going to cost a ton in order to acquire him. Also, it's one of those situations as well where if it's late in the game and you're up 3-2, do you trust him out there defensively? Because I'm putting Jacob Slavin out. If I'm up 3-2 late in the game, you know Jacob Slavin's going to be out there every other shift, right? Do I trust Noah Dobson to be out there with him? I don't know if I fully do. But he's 25, and he's got a ton of offensive upside. And he can still develop as like on the defensive side of things. So I'm going to put him at number 3. He's a darn good player. I don't know if he's worth the money it's going to cost him. It's going to cost you a ton to trade for him. Like it will easily cost you Scott Morrow plus in order to trade for him. He's going to the final year of his contract. And then you're talking about 8 years at $11 million a year. It's a little steep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit steep. I would put him at number 3 on this blind ranking, though. I would put him ahead of Marco Rossi. I would take him over Marco Rossi. I know those guys play different positions, but so in this blind ranking right now, we have Mitch Marner 1, Alex Tuck 2, Noah Dobson 3, Marco Rossi 4, and the blind ranking going number 5 is.
Well, I had to put another name that we've heard tossed around. Jason Robertson.
Oh, come on!
I know.
Come on!
I also have an honorable mention, which I'll get to after you.
I feel like
Jason's.
you did that on purpose. I feel like you did that.
No, the
on
honorable
purpose.
mention one is funny. I wanted to put him in, but you'll see.
I feel like you did this to troll me, Victoria. I feel like you did. All right, fine. Jason Robertson at number 5. Gosh. Jason Robertson, same type deal. 25 years old. He has a cap hit this year of 7.75, and I think he becomes an RFA, but he is eligible for arbitration after this season. 35 goals, 45 assists. He's played 82 games each of the last 3 years. And then even in 21-22, his third year in the league, he played 74 games. Now, he didn't play fully in the playoffs this year because in the very last regular season game, he did get hurt, so he did miss a chunk of the first round series against Colorado, but came back, did play 11 games in the playoffs this year. But Jason Robertson's a heck of a player. He's super young. I mean, you're talking about a point per game guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, gosh, in 22-23, he put up 109. He had 46 goals, 63 assists. I mean, Jason Robertson, I would love to have him on this team.
Yeah.
I would love to have him on this team, but there's still the question of, I mean, Alex Tuck is a winger. Mitch Marner's a winger. Jason Robertson's a winger. Someone's got to get these guys the puck in the middle of the ice. Aho Ken, we know what Jordan Stahl can bring on the defensive side of things, and he's great with puck possession and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of the generating the offensive scoring chances, they're just not fully there. And then you have, fourth line center possibly this season, Mark Jankowski, that is. But, obviously the goal scoring we saw him put up with Carolina this year, just shot out of a cannon.
Yep.
Again, Mark Jankowski, great name. But I took that from someone else. I can't remember who it was. So I want to give credit. But anyway, who can get these guys the puck is the question. This team is loaded with wingers. We'll dive into that here in a second. So again, the blind ranking that you gave me, the names that you just listed.
Number 1.
Number 1, Mitch Marner. Number 2 is Alex Tuck. Number 3, Noah Dobson. Number 4, Marco Rossi. Number 5, Jason Robertson. Of a blind ranking.
I would love Alex Tuck. When I saw that, I was like, oh, let's bring him on. But no, the honorable mention one was Martin H's.
Really?
Because he's back on the board.
No. That's a 6.
I know, yeah. We've seen guys go back to like other teams, like Teuvo Teravainen.
Yeah.
He was with the Blackhawks, came here, back at the Blackhawks. That would be funny, but no.
Go trade back for Martin H's.
You can come, but your dad, no. Keep
exactly.
your dad there, Colorado.
Oh, well, we'll dive into this. All right, we'll dive into this right now. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox in again for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vonecker producing the show. Again, based off that blind ranking, you mentioned the name Mitch Marner. And obviously that's one of the big names in free agency, the biggest name in free agency. Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet on his podcast, 32 Thoughts. There was the idea, and this is what the Elliot Friedman discusses this year in the soundbite you're about to hear. There's the idea of being floated around that maybe Mitch Marner listens to some offers on July 1st and then maybe plans a couple of visits and visits a couple teams over the next couple of days. Might not sign directly on July 1st. Well, there's a big-time question about are teams willing to accept that kind of weight? Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, part of Sportsnet, discussed that yesterday.
It's a great idea in theory, but in practice, teams are going to want to know that I want to know fast if he's coming because I've got to enact my plan B if he isn't. I just think there's a lot of people who are, when the time comes, they want to see what Vegas offers. Like when you start to sit down, this is the week you sit down and start figuring out, okay, who do I think is going where? Who's going here? Who's going there? And I think there's a lot of people just wondering about, is Vegas the team to beat here?
That's the big question. All right, what does Vegas do? If Vegas is really the number one team that's going to go after Mitch Marner, and it seems everywhere there's a lot more smoke billowing up from that. Vegas has to move on from somebody. They have to move one of their current players on their roster in order to make that deal work. Now, Vegas has a couple of contracts that they have to worry about. Because not only does Vegas have to worry about clearing out a contract to potentially bring on Mitch Marner, but one of their top young defensemen is a restricted free agent, and Nicholas Hague, 26 years old. He's an RFA. Talk about a guy who played 68 games last year. More of that defensive defenseman, not going to put up a ton of points. But, again, an RFA, what do you do with him? Because he's due a contract as well. Are you going to just submit him? I can't remember if he's arbitration eligible or not. But he is actually eligible for arbitration. Now, teams might look at him and say, hey, you know what? That's totally fine. You're an RFA. We can go ahead and trade your rights to another team that might be looking to add a depth piece defenseman. Because they already have 6 or 7 other defensemen under contract anyway. But Vegas has to figure that out. How are they going to clear up the cap space? But we also don't know fully what a contract for Mitch Marner might look like. Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic actually wrote over the weekend that he heard from a couple of teams that there was a little bit of speculation that maybe Mitch Marner only wants a 2-year contract. We did hear possibly, hey, he might sign like a 4-year deal and then cash in again when he's 32 years old. Well, the salary cap jumps all the way up to $113 million next year. I'm sorry, in 2 years from now. So the 27-28 season. It jumps up significantly. It's supposed to be $95.5 million this year. In a couple of years, it's supposed to be $113. That's a significant jump. So maybe he banks on, hey, I played really well for a couple of years. I'm going to be 30 years old. Cap's going to make a major jump. I can cash in for an even higher paying deal for 8 years or 7 years, whatever it might be. So there's still some questions about even what Mitch Marner is even looking for. Elliot Friedman says there's a lot of uncertainty in what a contract will look like for Mitch Marner as well as others moving forward.
It was a couple weeks ago, I think we mentioned the rumors of a 4-year deal. I had some people say to me that's not going to happen. I had some other people say to me it could happen. There were some other reports, I guess, on the weekend that it could be a 2 or 3 year deal. One of the things that's very obvious here between the teams and the agents is now that the cap is going up, but we only know the total for 3 years. I think everybody's trying to figure out what all of this means, right? And what the next contracts are going to look like. So I don't have a great answer on that. I just think that a lot of different options are on the table.
So part of what he mentioned there, obviously, no one fully knows what Mitch Marner is going to be wanting. Maybe he does go for, hey, give me 2 years, $13 million a year. Balls out. They didn't go sign another contract extension, either with the team that signs him this upcoming offseason or with someone else. Now, what are teams willing to do? Hey, if I'm going to make an investment into you financially, maybe I want more than just 2 years. Or, again, all things that have to be taken into consideration. Now, part of what future contracts might look like for teams going forward is this is where this I think impacts the Carolina Hurricanes in a couple of ways. If the new collective bargaining agreement that the Players Association and the NHL owners are discussing right now, which is set to take place into effect in 26-27, so after this upcoming year. Remember how in Jacob Slavin's contract and in Seth Jarvis's contract there was deferred money, which lowered their cap hit? Well, we've seen a couple other teams use that. I think it was Frank Vetrano's contract with the Anaheim Ducks pushed money back as a deferred payment, which lowered the cap hit for like the 3-year deal that he signed, and he's going to get paid more money down the line and potentially when he's not in a tax market like Anaheim. So you can get more money in the long term. The CBA, they might look to eliminate that whole deferred money thing. So if you're signing contracts for this upcoming year, are you putting deferred money in to potentially save money in the future? Those are all questions that general managers have to answer. So do you sign Mitch Marner to a 7-year contract, do you ask him to take deferred money? Because that way it lowers his cap hit over the length of the contract. All things that you have to take into consideration. But if Vegas is the option for Mitch Marner, Victoria, they have to give up somebody. And this is where I think Carolina could step in and swoop in and be a team that can go after William Karlsson, who is a center, who is an ideal number 2 center. Did not put up great numbers this past season, but has plenty of great seasons in his past. He's 32 years old and can still skate relatively well. Like, those are all potential options, I think, for Carolina. I would much rather go after William Karlsson, who's 32, which I know he's got 2 years left on his contract at $5.9 million. I'd much rather have William Karlsson as opposed to Tomas Hertl. Tomas Hertl is a slow skater. We might look at Jordan Staal and say, even at his age, 36, 37 years old, hey, you know what? Doesn't quite have the burst and speed anymore, especially like he did when he was, 5 years ago. Foot speed just deteriorates as you get older. It's just a natural part of being an athlete. Tomas Hertl at a younger age, at the age of 31, is a slower skater. And the numbers back this up, is a slower skater than Jordan Staal is. Why would I invest money or assets into trading for a guy like Tomas Hertl, who has 5 years left on his contract at $6.75 million, to potentially be my number 2 center if he's going to be my slowest skater? Not the way the Carolina Hurricanes play. You can't be a slow, plodding skater like Hertl is. He just doesn't, in my eyes, doesn't fit that system. Now, there are some rumors and floating around, like, for example, Cam Robinson, who works for Elite Prospects, posted this on X earlier today. Yeah, there's some smoke out there that Carolina could be bringing in Tomas Hertl. Carolina could get a top 6 forward, and Vegas could open up cap space for Mitch Marner. He eventually said, from asking around, it does not appear Carolina has any deals in place or is closing in on anything at this time. Back to your regularly scheduled draft schedule. Like, to me, I'm okay with no Tomas Hertl. I'm okay with that. That contract, in my eyes, is not going to age well. $6.75 million for a player who doesn't skate really well, when he's not going to get faster. Just not going to get faster. Yeah, I see the size and the offensive production. I understand the allure of it, but he doesn't, in my eyes, does not fit what this system does. He doesn't skate well enough in the system, in my eyes. So I would say out. I would say out on Tomas Hertl for me. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. We need to stretch. I know I haven't been here in a week, Victoria. I got a sore quad that I'm dealing with right now.
Good.
So I need to stretch, but also need to play some bets next.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Gregory, and I am the primary caregiver for our 5 grandchildren. We have worked to be a source of love and stability in their lives, and Medicaid has been a source of stability for us. Medicaid helped with all the visits to the doctor, pharmacy, dentist, orthodontist, mental health therapist, and it has helped our grandchildren grow healthy and strong. Our grandkids call me Papa or Pop Pop, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
When people put their feet under a table, it means more than just consuming food. Getting the restaurant back open, that meant to the community a lot of normalcy. The public health department checked the wells so that we knew where we could get water that was able to be used.
And it was neighbor helping neighbor, and I'm so proud to work in this little small county.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
Are you a veteran looking to make a career change? The Department of Labor is offering no-cost employment workshops to help you. Visit DOL.gov, paid for by U.S. Department of Labor.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
Victoria, sometimes after a stretch of inactivity, you try and push a little bit too hard, and you're like, oh.
Yep.
That feels a little bit tight.
Yep.
I got to stretch out. Maybe do a little yoga. Let's stretch things out. Let's hit the 7th inning stretch, Victoria.
Stretching is so important.
I got a quad that's bothering me right now.
Do that more often. I know. Well,
I really do, actually.
Speaking of getting older, you just turn your head the wrong way.
I know. I'm still in my 30s.
Yes.
Barely hanging on. I turned 39 back on Sunday, and I'm like, oh.
Yep.
No wonder my quad is hurting. It started hurting yesterday a little bit. I'm like, oh, is it because I'm 39 now?
Thanks for that. No, you sneeze and then your back's sore. What's going on?
Facts.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you're really over this weather, which I agree. This weather is gross. I do not need to just look outside and immediately start sweating. But there's a remedy, or at least a doctor from the UK thinks that she knows the perfect drink to drink in this hot weather, and it is not a beer. So she says that the perfect drink for hot weather is actually milk.
What?
Which
I thought milk was a bad choice.
which is double
It's too
gross.
hot.
Like milk is just the thought of it's kind of like, yeah, no, because I don't like warm milk. I know how some people can have like a glass of it and it get room temperature. No, I'm done. But she says that it actually works well because it takes longer to digest because of the sugar, protein, and fat. So it just keeps you hydrated longer than water does. It also has sodium, so it helps your body hold on to water.
All right.
And is packed with electrolytes. Now, she also says for people who might be vegan or just don't want regular milk, soy milk also works somehow too. So if you want to go that route, because you just want to try that, I don't know. I think I'll stick with water, but thanks, Doc.
You know, I think that leads into my perfect excuse of like, you know what? It's super hot outside. I just want to eat a nice cold bowl of cereal.
Yeah?
You know?
Or get a milkshake. That's what I would do.
Oh, yeah, there's that. Or you know what? Ice cream, folks.
Yes.
Everyone
It's
gets to
gotta
go
milk
have
it.
ice cream.
Yes.
Just gotta eat it fast. You just gotta eat it real fast.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm gonna get ice cream today.
Immediately melts right out.
Simple. Actually,
right
I
out
have
the
a
gate.
little bit of an ice cream cake in the freezer at home.
Ooh.
Girlfriend and I will go enjoy that.
There you go.
But yeah, I just want a nice cold bowl of cereal on a hot day like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, milk apparently is a perfect drink when you're sweating your face off. So, this, however, is terrifying because we grew up around the same time-ish, I think. And Freddy Krueger, which I think a lot of people grew up watching Freddy Krueger.
Oh, yeah, people know who Freddy
potentially.
Krueger is.
Terrifying when you're a child. Probably don't let your kids watch it too young because they'll never want to go to sleep. And this really doesn't help the situation because there's a new study in England that found people who have a lot of nightmares are actually more likely to drop dead. So researchers tracked.
I'm sorry, what?
Excuse you?
Just straight. Okay.
They tracked people for almost 2 decades, so for a while. And the ones who had nightmares at least once a week were 3 times more likely to pass on before the age of 70. Okay, so having nightmares apparently makes you age faster because your body goes through the same stressors as it would in real life. So if you feel like you're being chased, then you kind of react the same way as if you were in the real life. So
Okay.
yeah, there's that's not a great thing. But I don't know. See, they need to put like some kind of remedy to help you because how do you help yourself not freak yourself out in your sleep? I mean, I guess if you go to sleep thinking of like calm things, maybe listen to soothing music or
Yeah,
something.
it's like fall asleep to soothing music, like, you know, breath work and all those kinds of
Right?
things.
Maybe that will help.
Watch a
but-
comedy,
yeah.
read something funny before you go to bed, some comic books.
Fall asleep to The Office or something.
Hey,
Yeah. Maybe don't watch Dateline like me.
Oh, no, don't do that. Good Lord.
Or you could potentially wear green because
Okay.
this next study I read that there's a lot of like psychology when it comes to colors.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, for example, red, yellow, orange, those are warm colors. A lot of times can invoke things that are like warmth or like leadership. This even said hostility. We're not trying to go down that path, but there are also ones like blue, purple, green that are cool colors. However, one color stood out the most. Green apparently is like the color that helps with everything. If you're too stressed, it'll calm you down. If you're down in the dumps, it will lift you up. It's a calming color. So maybe you just need to wear green PJs. I don't know. But
All right.
this will help you like mellow out, like calm down. They said if you ever notice when you go into a city or something and you see a space that's just all green, that's, you know, to kind of help chill things out or whatever. I'll have to take note now and see if it's a thing, but yeah, green, that's the color to use.
Okay, so it's interesting you mentioned colors because as a big comic book fan,
Yeah.
the artists generally what they do is for heroes, that's why you see a lot of red, blue, yellow. You see those colors and those color combinations oftentimes when it comes to the heroes themselves because they're known as like power colors, whereas you see tones of like oranges and purples and things along those lines, oftentimes for villains, just because, again, what those images and stuff can represent. So, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know what else makes great sense?
Making some green?
Place your bets.
Talk about green.
I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you one.
Yeah, green sounds great. Place some bets.
I like making that kind of green.
Victoria, lead things off here.
Well, I would love to make some green with my Cubs. Let's get it together. They're in St. Louis taking on the Cardinals. I did not win that bet yesterday, but I think they're going to come back today, and they're going to win, and it's going to be over 8.5, and then it'll be plus 215.
Okay, there you go. Panama, Jamaica, Gold Cup soccer. I'm contractually obligated to give a soccer bet when sitting in for Adam Gold. Panama, Jamaica, draw, plus 230 in the Gold Cup.
Oh, nice. This next one would not make Adam happy because it involves his Mets. The Braves are red hot right now, and they're in New York just dominating the Mets. And so, you know what? Why not still go with the Braves? Braves over 9, plus 175.
Okay. Cincinnati Reds at home taking on the New York Yankees. Give me the Reds at home money line plus 134 over the Yankees.
Go.
Because why not?
Why not? Absolutely. Last but not least, the Orioles, they just won yesterday, but I think they're going to do it again against the Texas Rangers. So give me Baltimore over 9.5 plus 225.
Okay, plus 225. All right. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make one more baseball bet here, Victoria, because we all know how awesome Shohei Ohtani is, right? Give me Shohei Ohtani, anytime home run, plus 140.
It could happen.
Shohei Ohtani, home run, plus 140. I would love to see him play in person. He's like on that list of players I want to see play in person. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. What does one expert say about all these injuries in the NBA? Wall of Sound next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreases by half. Learn more about how you can quit and get started today, plus other ways to care for your heart at wakemed.org.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Lenovo is celebrating 20 years of calling the Triangle home and empowering local education partners, helping them foster learning opportunities that'll inspire next-generation innovators. At Lenovo, we're shaping today and tomorrow using smarter technology for all.
This is what breaking news on WREL sounds like.
A teenager accused of murder in custody tonight.
From the moments that matter.
Let's take a look at those live pictures right now from Sky 5.
When seconds count.
Authorities say they are very concerned for the safety of the public.
When your safety is the priority.
Breaking news right now, a large fire in eastern Wake County. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Watch WREL News. Breaking news coverage you can count on.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
Coming into this series, I already said that SGA was the best perimeter player in basketball, but for the run that he had just this season, the scoring title, the MVP. So when you talk about the face of the league, or you talk about the best player in the league, I mean, what else do he has to do? He has taken over the throne.
I generally don't like getting into listing and well, this person's the best player right now. Well, I don't like getting into that stuff, Victoria. Those That's why I do blind rankings.
Yeah.
That's why we do blind rankings. Mm-hmm. Like blind ranking potential Carolina Hurricanes future players, which we did earlier today in the show. The Adam Gold Show, that is. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Victoria producing the show as always. We're going to talk a little bit more Canes coming up here at 2:15 because there's some questions that people are throwing on our YouTube live chat. Which, by the way, if you go on YouTube, you can search The Adam Gold Show or search 99.9 The Fan. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for The Adam Gold Show. And you can go on there, subscribe. You can watch the show in its entirety. You can watch it live, and there's a whole replay of the show that's available for you to go back and listen to. Like, hold on, wait a second. I got receipts of Dennis when you said this the other day. You can go back and listen to it. Also, you can leave comments. You can jump in the live section. There's some people asking about potential defensemen to play alongside Jacob Slavin this upcoming season. We're actually going to talk about one of those potential guys coming up here at 2:15. But every day at 2 o'clock on the Adam Gold Show, we get into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Victoria, I don't know if you've seen the stories going out there about Shedeur Sanders and the multiple speeding tickets that he's gotten up in Cleveland since the draft, including, I think, he got clocked, I think, going 101 and a 65.
That's crazy.
This was a couple weeks after already having gotten another speeding ticket.
He learned.
It's like, all right, young man, here's the thing. You're not invincible, but keep this in mind. You are a 5th-round pick. Now, whether you think that was justified or not, the facts are you were picked in the 5th round, and the team that you're playing for currently has a 3rd-round pick on their team that they drafted this year, plus another vet and Joe Flacco, another guy floating around, and Kenny Pickett.
Five quarterbacks.
And there's Deshaun Watson still floating around there. Though Watson's, got the whole, injuries, probably not going to play this season and all that as is. But still, this team doesn't have a whole lot invested in you. You can't give anybody an excuse to move on from you because they already discounted you from the get-go. Now, Dan Graziano of ESPN said the Browns probably need to have a sit-down chat with Shedeur Sanders.
If you're the Browns, you're sitting with Shedeur Sanders and you're saying, look, man,
You can't do this. When you're out in the community, you represent us, you represent our franchise. Everything you do matters, reflects on us as coaches, as a front office, as your teammates. So that's part of what they're giving him at this point. The question is, of course, does he learn from it going forward? And as it pertains to his standing on the football team and in the NFL, the thing people have to remember, he's a 5th round pick. Not every 5th round pick makes the team. He has to perform at a high level, and in that situation, you don't get a lot of rope in terms of what the organization or what the league will put up with in terms of your behavior away from the facility. So hopefully he's learning from this and the mistakes won't be repeated, and he can focus on just trying to make the team and be the starting quarterback as soon as possible.
Yeah, your margin of error and leeway as a 5th round pick is pretty much non-existent in the NFL. Maybe there's a little bit, ain't a whole lot. Now, we're going to see Cleveland come down and play the Carolina Panthers first preseason game. They're also going to have joint practices as well, Victoria. So we'll see Shedeur Sanders live and in person at Bank of America Stadium. But he has to go out and not only just compete for a job, he's got to go compete for reps in practice. He's got to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Reps in practice aren't equal. He's got to fight for all of it.
And it would help if you showed maturity. Because
Bingo.
that, you want that representing your team.
Yeah, you want that representing your team, but also, if I'm going to be willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, show it.
Yeah.
Because if you struggle picking up the playbook and you struggle developing as a player, it's like, well, yeah, it leads into the whole maturity thing. That's the narrative. I'm not saying that's the fact. It's just what people are going to think. It's perception. Simple as that. So we saw in the NBA Finals on Sunday, Victoria, Game 7, Tyrese Halliburton in the first quarter goes down with a torn Achilles.
Yep.
Now, he was playing with a strained calf already as it was. Same thing like what Kevin Durant had, strained calf. Boom, there goes the Achilles. Tyrese Halliburton strained, there goes the Achilles. Now, Jay Williams of ESPN said the NBA really needs to look into figure out how they can minimize some of these injuries.
This pace, in this year's pace for the NBA, 108.9, is faster than any other season since the early 70s. And 8 Achilles tears this season that we just went through. To me, that's not a coincidence. That's more of a trend that we're starting to see with what's happening in the sport. And it brought me back to the KD moment, right?
Yes.
You know, talk about that Game 5 against Toronto, in Toronto for KD, where we saw it. You talked about Jason Tatum, Dame.
Rolled up on
I just think it's, as it relates to protocols, and as we have more pace and space, as we have more expand the court, more threes, it increases the problem of injuries, soft tissue injuries like this. And I think the NBA is going to have to find different ways, protocols to put in place to minimize these types of things that are occurring, because the trend is going up.
So there's a trend. Yeah, I guess you could say there's a trend because we're seeing high-profile names that it's happening to. Now, we've heard from NBA players about load management and all that kind of stuff for years now. Well, guess what? NBA players have been load managing for years, recently, and now we're seeing these injuries pop up. So, well, maybe the load management wasn't the problem, or maybe load management isn't the solution, I should say. I think people don't realize that in sports in general, the way we see athletes overuse certain parts of their body and the long-term impact of that. For example, in baseball, we're seeing Tommy John surgeries at a higher rate than ever before.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we're seeing so often now, like 12, 13, 14-year-olds playing travel baseball year-round, and they're pitching more innings than like Paul Skeens is for the Pirates. Like, we're seeing more innings and games being thrown by 13-year-olds than pros. They're doing these long bullpen sessions and all this kind of stuff that's just wearing down on their arms. Well, guess what? If I'm a basketball player and I'm constantly doing jump training, if I'm constantly doing all these other different things starting at age 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I never let that part of my body recover because I'm continuously doing the same thing, well, then guess what? That wears down. It's just a cumulative effect over years of time. So I think it's a matter of, at a young age, training. This is something I learned in grad school. In grad school, I studied exercise science, which is a thing called the kinetic chain and overuse and injuries. Those are all things that we studied and learned. And this is why it was so important where you do things like, for example, just take a break from your sport. Like, go do another sport. Like, fully develop your body in different ways to do other things, but also give those parts of your body rest. Again, I say this when it comes to baseball pitchers. You see guys throwing more innings at a young age than ever before, and they're all trying to throw 99, 100 miles an hour. Well, you're putting more torque and stuff on your arm and your shoulder and your body at such a young age. Well, yeah, there's no wonder at age 18 you're having Tommy John. It's because of all the stuff that you've put on your body going up to that point. All that kind of stuff matters. Last bit here on the Adam Gold Show when it comes to the wall of sound. Aaron Rodgers, that's right, that guy, was on the Pat McAfee show today. New Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback signed a 1-year contract. Is this it for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a 1-year deal. Steelers didn't need to, put any extra years on that or anything. So, this was really about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace for the career that I've had. I mean, I played 20 freaking years. It's been a long run, and I've enjoyed it. And what better place to finish than in one of the cornerstone franchises of the NFL with Mike Tomlin and a great group of leadership and great guys in the city that expects you to win.
I appreciate the honesty from Aaron Rodgers in that regard. I sometimes, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but aside from that, the level of honesty is like, hey, you know what? I'm in this thing for one more. Want to end this thing on a high note. I'm going to go try and go all in with this team, trying to win this thing. Good. That's fine. You know what? And he has every right to say it. He has every right to make that choice. I don't think he's out there announcing yep, this is my retirement tour. I don't know. People might take it that way. That's fine. But nonetheless, if this is Aaron Rodgers' last year, I hope he does go out with a bang. I hope he does, because I would hate to see, speaking of Achilles injuries, right? Talking about Tyrese Halliburton and all that. I hope the Achilles injury isn't the lasting image of what we have of what's been a great career. Now, aside from all the nonsense of him talking, him on the field has been phenomenal throughout his career. You have to acknowledge, you can acknowledge both, but you have to acknowledge what the player has been for the majority of his career. And I just hope for his sake, it's just as a former athlete in me, the last thing that I would ever want is to go out on a limp, if that makes sense. I want to finish on a strong high note. And I'm sure that's exactly what he wants to do as well. Hey, I want to finish my career on my terms. And that's okay. Not every athlete gets to do that. Not every athlete gets to do that. So that means now he was on Pat McAfee an hour ago. Yeah. So it wasn't that long ago. So him saying that's a big thing. Now, in a year from now, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in the exact same situation looking for a quarterback once again.
I mean, I'm sure that he talked to Mike Tomlin about this. That can't come as a surprise to Mike Tomlin. I guess it's just okay, does Tomlin have a strategy then? Or is he just putting all the chips in this year? Do you feel like he feels some type of way that maybe he's concerned about his job?
I don't know about Tomlin specifically, but I think this is also on the front office. I think it's Omar Khan, if I remember correctly, is the general manager there. It used to be Kevin Colbert for a long time. But either way, it's also in the front office as well, because front office has to make the decisions. Front office is the one that traded for DK Metcalf and traded away George Pickens. Not Mike Tomlin. That was the front office making those decisions. Pittsburgh has a very much a pecking order of and a rank and file system about who makes decisions for what. Not saying Tomlin doesn't have influence, but there is still a rank and file when it comes to these kinds of things. So it's also going to be on the front office as well, because a couple years ago they tried Kenny Pickett because he fell to them at number 20 in the draft, and it's hey, you know what? he's the top quarterback in this draft. Let's take a flyer on him. It didn't work out. You took a chance. You didn't give up anything to go try and get him. He fell to you at 20. Okay, so you tried the whole Russell Wilson, Justin Fields thing. Okay, you got to the playoffs once again, but it fell apart. Okay, now you run it back with a veteran once again. The next year, you're going to be in the same type situation. Maybe their 5th-round pick, Will Howard, out of Ohio State, maybe he does develop into something. Behind the scenes, playing behind Rodgers, maybe he does develop into something. And guess what? Maybe he's your starter in long term. And you found a steal in the 5th round. Congrats. You just don't know. I mean, since Ben Roethlisberger retired, they've been trying to search for that next QB. This is where I think every NFL team wishes that they had. Like, for example, with Ben Roethlisberger, they drafted him in 2004, played all the way to 2021. I mean, that's ideal. Like, you knew, like, that one position you didn't have to worry about for 15 years, 16 years.
And he was good for most of it.
It was great. You got a couple Super Bowl trophies
Yeah.
and another trip, which ironically they lost to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, absolutely. This is, for example, you hope the Carolina Panthers are in that situation with Bryce Young, right? Where he's your next quarterback for 15 years. You don't have to think about that position going forward. Now, not every team or franchise is like Aaron Rodgers' old franchise in Green Bay, where he went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's not always that linear. It's not an easy thing to do. More teams are searching for quarterbacks than actually truly do have one long term, I feel like. But if this is Aaron Rodgers' last run, go out with a bang. If you go out with a bang and don't do a whole lot of the talking nonsense stuff that we hear from you over the last few years, then guess what? The perception of you will change. Simple as that. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. Speaking of players on the move, in the NHL, who might be the best fit to play alongside Jacob Slavin next year for the Carolina Hurricanes? There's one player that's been linked to Carolina that I really like a lot. I'll tell you who that is in 4 minutes.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Victoria Vodnecker from 99.9 The Fan here with Dr. Brenna Houlihan from Wake Med. She's here to educate us a little bit more on Men's Health Month. Now, people may not be aware of this, but the technical screening window for a colonoscopy's changed, right?
It has in the last couple of years. We're now really recommending it at 45.
Much earlier, right?
Yes, earlier than 50 that most people are used to. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you have a first-degree relative, meaning your parents or siblings that have had colon cancer, you actually need to do it 10 years before the age that they were diagnosed, or 40, whichever comes first. The day before, you do have to kind of purge out the system. So you have to do clear liquids. It makes us be able to see everything in the colon. But the day of the colonoscopy, you get some medication, you snooze, and before you know it, it's it's all over.
Well, definitely important to know, especially if you fit that bill. Thank you so much, Dr. Houlihan, for your information. If you have any more questions or want to find a provider local to you, visit wakemed.org.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the first or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Are you an annoying coworker? Sending emails when everyone else is sleeping? Do they ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have knowledgeable sleep experts that can help you find a better bed, like a Tempur-Pedic. It has technology to keep you cool at night, meaning anyone, even people like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Gold. Gold.
I'm really excited about next season, considering this was supposed to be a rebuild year. But with these new guys, like Bradley Nadeau, we've got Nikishin coming eventually. If we've got Hall still here, Jackson Blake, I mean, there's so much promise and potential. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, and just wait till the big kid gets ready to play.
The Adam Gold Show.
Trust we seek in finding you, Eric Tulsky, Carolina Hurricanes general manager. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria producing. Victoria, there is, as much as we talk about the need to add scoring for the Carolina Hurricanes, the need to get a center, there is still a void on their blue line. Dmitry Orlov is going to be a free agent. Doesn't look like he's going to be re-signed. I think if he was going to be re-signed, it would have happened already. But Alexander Nikishin, we believe, is just going to slot right into that spot.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the flash of the potential in the playoffs a little bit. Again, flash. We'll see what it's like at a full-time NHL level. But he's as high as a prospect as there is out there, right?
Yep.
I mean, I think he's destined to play alongside Jalen Chatfield. If you keep Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker, if you don't trade either of those guys, which I don't see why you would, we know those two work together as a third pair perfectly, right? We know what you're going to get. Now, Brett Burns is a free agent. Now, if Brett Burns is brought back, I don't think it's A, for a high-price deal, and B, I don't think he plays top pair minutes with Jacob Slavin. Especially at age 40, just the speed slowing down. I don't think he can handle those minutes anymore going forward. So the question is, who plays alongside Jacob Slavin? Now, there's some names that have been floating around out there. For example, there's been Noah Dobson, New York Islanders defenseman. He's 25 years old, right-handed, last year of his contract. It's going to be a restricted free agent. Maybe New York looks to New York, by the way, who has the number 1 overall pick. Hey, we can get a pretty big return for this guy, and we're going to get a number 1 pick, but also the number 1 pick is also probably going to be a defenseman who's right-handed and actually can play that role that Noah Dobson's in right now. Well, if we can trade and get a haul for Noah Dobson, then we get this number 1 overall pick that's going to play that number 1 defenseman on the right side, and it's going to be much less expensive over the next few years because of an entry-level contract. Well, why wouldn't I get a haul for Noah Dobson? Now, Carolina's name's been linked to them, possibly. Like, all right, makes sense. 25 years old. Canes have the cap space. His style of play fits alongside what Jacob Slavin. Like they two theoretically will work well together. Now, I just don't know if Noah Dobson, A, would be just too expensive for Carolina. You're probably looking at like a $10, $11 million per year contract on a 7-8 year deal. Might be too rich for Carolina. Might be more than what they're willing to pay. Also, is he good enough truly in the back end in terms of defensively to play with Carolina? Because late in games, Jacob Slavin's going to be out there on the ice. You know why? Because he's Jacob freaking Slavin. That's why. So is his defense partner going to be good enough to also skate alongside him in those situations? If you don't think Dobson can be that, then he's not worth $11 million in my eyes. There has been a player, Victoria, that has been floated around with the Carolina Hurricanes. It's right shot defenseman from the Ottawa Senators, Rasmus Andersson.
Mm-hmm.
That name has been floated around a bunch with particularly 3 different teams: Carolina, Columbus, Ottawa. Ironically, Columbus, former general manager Don Waddell of the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that has a ton of cap space, that actually scored. They were like one of the top scoring teams, like top 10 in the NHL in goals per game last year, was Columbus. I think they were 8th in the NHL last year in scoring, but they're 25th in goals against. So they need help on the back end, and they have a ton of cap space. They got more money to spend than the Canes do. Now the question is, what's it going to cost to go get a guy like Rasmus Andersson? Now Rasmus Andersson, going into the final year of his contract, making just under $5 million a year. He's 28 years old, but this dude plays a ton of minutes, and he's been durable in his career. So if you look at the last few years for Rasmus Andersson, played in 81 games last season. If you look at the counting stats, they're not sexy. He had 11 goals, 20 assists, played 81 games, but the plus-minus was pretty bad. It was like a minus 38 player. Now, Calgary, not a playoff team last season. But you look at that plus-minus, and you're like, oh, that's a major concern. But if you look at some of the advanced numbers for Rasmus Andersson, the expected goals in 5-on-5 when he was on the ice were equal to expected goals against, or roughly the same. So maybe it's just kind of like, bad luck, bad situations. Sometimes when you're out there on the ice for empty net situations and all that kind of stuff, and the other team scores, you get a minus tacked onto you. But nonetheless, this is a guy who has offensive upside, 28 years old, and is not a small guy either, 6'1", 203. Right-handed, again, 28 years old. His cap hit this year is $4.5 million, basically. What's it going to take for Carolina to possibly go get him? Well, it probably will cost you Scott Morrow. Now, I'm assuming you don't make the trade for a Rasmus Andersson from Calgary unless you can probably work out a long-term deal in advance. Now, it's the offseason. It's a lot easier to make those kinds of moves in the offseason than it is during the trade deadline. Like we saw with Mikko Rantanen, try to trade for him mid-season, try to work out the deal after you already got him, and it didn't quite work out. But that doesn't mean Carolina doesn't potentially move Scott Morrow and one of their draft picks and possibly another prospect over to Calgary, get Rasmus Andersson back in return. Because now you filled that void. You can work on that long-term contract. And you could pair Andersson, who could probably show more of his offensive upside playing alongside Jacob Slavin than he can in Calgary. Because he played in pretty much every situation in Calgary this past year. He played nearly 24 minutes a game for the Flames this past season. Skating 81 games, played nearly 24 minutes a game. Now you come to Carolina, and guess what? You can skate 22. Skate 21 and a half. Don't have to put as much stress on you. Hey, you don't have to quarterback the top power play unit. You got Shane Goss to spare to do that. So you can actually focus on being a better 5-on-5 player and contributing more at 5-on-5. Now, that's the ideal fit. But when you have teams like Ottawa, when you have teams like Columbus that are also in the mix, well, the price goes up, Victoria. That's the thing. What's the price you are willing to pay to go get a Rasmus Andersson? Now, I had someone here, Victoria, in our YouTube chat, Jay, asked, do you think that Erik Karlsson, who currently plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins, formerly a San Jose Shark, whom the Carolina Hurricanes were potentially trying to trade for a couple of years ago, do you think Erik Karlsson could be revitalized playing alongside Jacob Slavin? Would be kind of funny if we get him for half-priced, if Pittsburgh retains after Pittsburgh outbid for him originally. Erik Karlsson's salary cap hit over the next couple of years, Victoria, is like well over $11 million a year.
Wow.
It's expensive.
Holy.
Yeah. And now he really hit his peak a couple of years ago when he had a 100-plus point season as a blue liner.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And sure enough, Pittsburgh makes a big trade. They try and get him because they're like, all right, you know what? Let's go all in. We're going to have Crosby. We're going to have Malkin. We're going to have Chris Letang. We're going to have Erik Karlsson. And now they can't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how comfortable Pittsburgh is trading a player in the division. I don't know how comfortable Carolina is trading potential prospects and players for someone in the division either. Like, those are all things you have to keep in mind. But Erik Karlsson at $11+ million cap hit over the next 2 years, if you get Pittsburgh to retain half of that money and you get him for $6.5 million or whatever it might be, okay, I'll listen. Or $6 million, whatever it might be. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
But again, I bring this question up. When you know Jacob Slavin's going to be on the ice late in the game because you're trying to hold on to a 3-2 lead, especially in the playoffs, do you trust Erik Karlsson to be out there with him? I don't know if I do. Now, he can quarterback a power play. He can put up a bunch of offensive numbers. I don't know if I'm comfortable with him killing penalties. Because that's something that you're going to have to trust that number one pair defenseman to do as well, is to kill penalties. Shane Gostisbehere, admittedly himself, is not a great penalty killer. It's not his forte. Sean Walker, Jalen Chatfield, we know can kill penalties. Obviously, Jacob Slavin can. Alexander Nikishin will probably be killing penalties as well. But if one of those guys is injured or is in the penalty box, I need to have a fifth guy ready to go. And if I can't trust Gostisbehere and Erik Karlsson or someone else or Noah Dobson to kill penalties, and then guess what? It probably doesn't make a good fit. That's why I say Rasmus Andersson is the fit. He is the fit. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the program today, as always. If you missed any of the show, check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Download, subscribe, follow. That way you don't miss anything. Also go on YouTube. You can search the Adam Gold Show. You can also specifically look up 99.9 The Fan, just 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. It's the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. You can subscribe there. You can follow on the show, leave comments in the YouTube chat during the live show. The whole show is available to watch there. There's video clips, so if you miss parts of stuff, you want to leave comments, jump in there. I like reading comments and interacting with people. And you never know. You might hear stuff that you post right here on the show. Like, for example, like Jay's comment about Erik Karlsson, taken directly from you all, the listener. We want you to be part of this show. But Victoria, on the other side, I'm going to make a case for why the Carolina Hurricanes should not, and I repeat, should not go for Tomas Hertl next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream, a sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Stacy. I'm the proud mother of 2 daughters who were born prematurely. Our daughter Emma weighed less than 2 pounds when she was born, and today she's 100% prescription formula fed. It costs over $125 a day. Private insurance does not cover her formula, but Medicaid does. And I couldn't imagine the choices we'd have to make without it. My name is Stacy, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
So, Victoria, there's rumors, again, all rumors and speculation, all floating around about the Carolina Hurricanes possibly being linked to Tomas Hertl of the Vegas Golden Knights. And the reason why that would be the case, Victoria, is because Vegas is very heavily linked to Mitch Marner, the potential, the pending free agent. Mitch Marner, Toronto Maple Leafs, who's also been linked to Carolina. Apparently, Carolina wants to be in the mix to go after Mitch Marner as well. But the growing belief is that Mitch Marner will be a Vegas Golden Knight. Well, if Mitch Marner is going to get the expected $13, $14 million on the open market, that is expected, Vegas can't sign that. They can't afford to do it. Now, if they want to do that, they want to make that happen, well, guess what? They have to take one of their current players and trade him away or buy somebody out to make that cap space. More than likely will be to trade. And one of the names being floated around is Tomas Hertl, who's making, now his salary cap hit for Vegas is $6.75 million. Now, he was acquired from the San Jose Sharks. San Jose actually is retaining some of his salary. But his salary cap hit is $6.75 million because San Jose is retaining some of that money. And he's under contract for 5 more years. He's 31 years old. And I've seen some Canes fans be like, oh, Tomas Hertl. This guy could be our number 2 center, Tomas Hertl. Well, for Vegas last season, he really was the number 3 center. Because you had Jack Eichel as the number 1 guy, William Karlsson, and then you had Tomas Hertl. Tomas Hertl, in my eyes, I think he's a good, don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player, but I think a lot of the numbers that you are seeing from him are inflated from the power play, which is, hey, nothing wrong with a guy that scored 14 power play goals this past season. I get that. Makes his living in front of the net. I understand what that could potentially bring. But my fear is this, Victoria, is that where's the majority of the game played? 5-on-5. 5-on-5. This is where I think Tomas Hertl's lack of speed and lack of goal scoring creation at 5-on-5 really is a problem.
Not good.
So he scored 14 power play goals last season. He scored 13 5-on-5 goals last year. Now, again, I ain't going to hate the fact that someone's going to score 14 power play goals. Do not get me wrong. The Canes need help on the power play. But power plays aren't guaranteed. It's not like, hey, every single game you're going to get 4 power plays.
Yeah, no, it's just a bonus.
You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, we've seen plenty of times where you don't get any or may only get 1. So 5-on-5 really is where it matters. So I mentioned earlier about Jordan Staal. Jordan Staal, similar built, 6'4", 220. Tomas Hertl is like 6'3", 220. So basically they're built, the measurables are the same. As you get older, which Jordan Staal is entering age like 37 season coming up, your foot speed declines. It's just a natural thing. We've seen it over the last few years with Brent Burns, who's now age 40. It's just a natural thing that happens, right? Your foot speed declines. You see it in every sport out there. Track, football, you name it. Hockey, baseball, speed declines with age. This past season, this is according to NHL. You can go to edge.nhl.com. If you're kind of into some of this stuff as a fan, I encourage you to go to look at these things. So this is according to NHL Edge, is what it's called. So this is actually produced by the league. They use GPS tracking to track all player speeds, distance that they cover during the course of a game, along with they track where goals are scored, where their shots are taken on different spots on the ice, how that ranks compared to the rest of the league. So these are kind of some of the more advanced numbers. So they have a breakdown of skating speed. They have what your top speed was that you hit, so the top miles per hour that you hit. How many bursts of 22-plus miles per hour did you have? How many bursts of speed did you have in the speed range of 20 to 22 miles per hour, as well as 18 to 20 miles per hour? Okay? So each of those 4 different categories. The top speed that Jordan Staal hit this past year was 23.15 miles per hour. That's cooking. That's in the 90th percentile. Okay? The 90th percentile. So he's up there. Tomas Hertl's top speed that he hit this season, 21.8. Below 50%. So the bottom half of the league. Jordan Staal had 4 bursts of 22-plus miles per hour. The league average is 3.7 for skaters. So Jordan Staal basically right there in that above average, but in the 71st percentile. Tomas Hertl, 0 22-plus mile-per-hour burst, bottom 50% in the NHL. If you look in that speed range of 20 to 22 miles an hour skating, Jordan Staal hit that speed 76 times this past season. 58th percentile in the league. So a little bit lower in the percentiles, but still 58th. Top half of the league. Tomas Hertl, 36. So 76 for Jordan Staal, 36 Tomas Hertl. 18 to 20 mile per hour bursts. Jordan Staal, 530. Tomas Hertl, 319. Jordan Staal's percentile rank, 80th. Tomas Hertl, bottom half of the league. Not saying Jordan Staal is slow, but he ain't the most fleet of foot. And he definitely is far from the fastest skater on the team. If Carolina wants a true effective number 2 center, you can't skate slow like Tomas Hertl. You just simply can't. And the scoring from Hertl has been a little bit too inconsistent in his career as well. For example, expected 5-on-5 goals this past year for Tomas Hertl, 15. That was the expected goals according to Natural Stat Trick. He scored 13 at 5-on-5. If you actually look at high danger chances, it's actually one of the things that has actually declined in his career. Individual high danger chances for. If you also look at number of giveaways, most giveaways he's had since his second year in the NHL when he was basically a rookie. So we're seeing increased giveaways. He's not that great in faceoffs overall. This past season, he was below 50% as a whole. Now, 5-on-5, 54%, that's fine. Don't get me wrong. But someone who doesn't skate necessarily really well, someone who, in terms of individual defense, is not overall great. Like the expected goals against when he is out there on the ice is relatively close to what his expected goals for is when he's out there on the ice in 5-on-5. Those are things that scare me for a player that is getting older. These are things that don't age gracefully. If you're already slow, you're not going to get any faster after the age of 30. You're just simply not. Now, again, I understand the effectiveness of the power play, but he's no better in my eyes in the future as being a third-line center. You already have one of those for the next couple years in Jordan Staal. You really do. You might look at the counting stats and say, hey, 30 goals, 30-plus goals. I love it. But I always point this out. Late in the game, when if you're cut down to 3 lines, how much do you trust him out there on the ice defensively? Hey, there's 4 minutes left in the game. There's an icing call. And Tomas Hertl's out there. How much do you trust him to be out there on the ice? Which impacts, hey, if that means I can't get Logan Stankoven and Taylor Hall on the ice because he's playing with Tomas Hertl, there's the negative impact there. So no, I'm cautious against that move. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, by the way. But that name was floating around out there, and I know a lot of Canes fans are like, oh, hey, look at that, Tomas Hertl. I don't see Hertl as a good fit for this team.
I don't feel like he's the key that we need to change things.
He's not.
He's not the person to fill the gap.
So I know there's a lot of people in our YouTube live chat saying, what are the chances that we get Hertl? Slim. I think it's slim that we get Tomas Hertl. Again, I just don't think he fits with this team, especially long-term. 31 years old, got 5 years left on that contract. He's not going to get any faster. He is a slow-plodding skater.
And we're a fast team.
Yeah,
that's part of their game.
This is a team that wants to play fast, that does play fast.
Yep.
If you're going to play a man-on-man system, he has to skate. And if he's going to play center, he's got to match up with the other team's center.
Yeah.
If you lose a face-off in the defensive zone in Rob Brendan-Moore's system, if you lose that face-off as a center, you stay matched up man-to-man on the other team's center. Imagine if he's out there trying to Draisaitl out there.
Yeah, they'll be down a man every time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you are putting yourself in a disadvantageous position because no matter who he's playing with as his wingers, well, if I can't trust you out there on face-offs or just being out there against, getting stuck against another team, some of their top guys, then guess what? That impacts the effectiveness of those guys that he's playing on the line with as well. So, no, I do not think that it's a great move to go get Tomas Hertl. I don't think he's good defensively, and his speed, he's slow, and it's not going to age well. Simple as that. Imagine him 5 more years left on that contract at 31. That doesn't feel good. I think if you're going to try and poach away a player from Vegas, William Karlsson's the player you go after. 2 years left on his deal, $5.9 million. He's 32 years old and skates way faster and way better.
Yeah.
Now, he may not have the offensive production that we saw Hertl have this last season, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he still can't contribute offensively because we've seen 30-plus goal seasons from William Karlsson as well.
And Vegas might wheel and deal a little more since they need the room.
They have to. Hey, you know what? You did them a solid a couple years ago with Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, last season between San Jose and Vegas, Tomas Hertl had 17 goals. In 23, he had 22. In 22, he had 30. The year before that, in 21, he had 19. So it's not like Tomas Hertl is a consistent, hey, this guy's been 30-plus goals for each of the last 5 years. He's not that. He's not. Pump brakes. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. That's my opinion on it. That's just my opinion on it. But Victoria, as much noise as we've heard from the Carolina Hurricanes, and I say noise in a good way, in terms of, I guess, the conversation, there always feels like their name is linked to everything.
Yeah.
You know who's been really quiet this offseason?
The Carolina Panthers.
Quiet.
Yep.
They've been quiet this offseason. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yep, I'm good with that.
They needed some quiet. You know what we haven't heard from? We haven't heard from Tepper.
Yep.
We don't have to worry. Haven't heard anything about, what's this new head coach going to do? What's this new offensive coordinator going to do? What's this defensive coordinator going to do? Well, this defensive coordinator needs to do something. But we haven't heard any of those kinds of things.
I'm grateful our quarterback isn't getting speeding ticket after speeding ticket.
Yeah,
so.
there's that too. But at least you know who your quarterback is.
Yeah, and he's a very nice gentleman.
There's that. It's amazing how I think this is one of the reasons why there is a level of optimism going into the offseason, just for pro sports as a whole. Maybe not the Charlotte Hornets as much, but for pro sports in the state of North Carolina, is that you see Carolina with the Hurricanes that we just talked about with all their cap space and assets and the stuff that they can do to go to acquire players. And we see the Carolina Panthers, they retain pretty much everyone on offense from last season with the exception of a couple of guys. Their whole coaching staff offensively pretty much is coming back. Defensively, they made a couple tweaks to their coaching staff, but it's the same coordinator, but it's the same GM, same head coach and play caller, same quarterback. There's so much continuity. And now the only thing that they have to really worry about so far between now and training camp is Nick Scorton, their second-round pick, getting signed. That's it. If that's the biggest thing you have going on, great. Now, there's a couple guys that are still recovering from injury, which is just a natural course of what every NFL team is going to be dealing with. But you didn't have to worry about a player holding out for a new contract. You didn't have a situation where nobody reported to minicamp or, guys didn't show up to OTAs or any of those kinds of things. Everyone was there. Everyone that could participate participated. You already know who your quarterback is and the play calling. The offense is the same for the first time since 8 years ago. And things are quiet. And that's perfectly okay. Training camp, believe it or not, 1 month away. 1 month away is training camp for the Carolina Panthers. Literally a month from today, I think, is their first practice.
It's crazy. It's coming up fast.
I know. It's gonna be here before you know it.
Yep.
It's going to be here before you know it. You're a month away from training camp. and all is quiet down there on Mint Street. And guess what? That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Tepper arrived, then you had the Cam Newton shoulder injury and all that stuff. Then Ron Rivera gets let go. Then, okay, you go get Matt Rule. Then Cam gets let go. You bring in the Teddy Bridgewater. Then you make the big offseason trade for Sam Darnold. Then, hey, now we're going to go ahead and get Baker Mayfield. Then we're going to make, Matt Rule's gone. Are you going to keep Steve Wilkes? No, we're going to go get Frank Reich. And then he doesn't last the whole season. You made Bryce Young, all those picks and everything you gave up to go get him. And then you brought in this no-name head coach in Dave Canales, who's never been a head coach before, only has 1 year as a play caller. And then last season was up and down, and then it ended on a pretty solid note where it felt like, oh, okay, now things have calmed down. Now you're seeing an ascension from both your team, your quarterback individually, and your head coach as a play caller. You start to see this slow, gradual ascension. And then you ended on that big high note with that win in overtime against Atlanta last season. And you know what? You kept all of your offensive linemen. You brought back 3 of your top 4 receivers from last season, 4 of your top receivers from last year. You added another one with your 8th pick. You made a bunch of big signings on defense. And things are quiet. And you haven't heard from David Tepper.
That's what I'm most excited about.
That's the thing. You haven't heard from him. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And you know what? As a Panther fan, the silence should bring you joy.
It does.
Because it's been nothing but chaos for the last 7 years, basically.
And not like we want with our other professional Carolina team.
Yeah, I mean, it calls chaos.
We
that's
cause
different.
chaos here. Nah, we don't need that in Charlotte.
That's different. But this is a good thing. And it should have you excited. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Thank you for tuning in and listening in today. We'll be back tomorrow, folks. Will the Carolina Hurricanes have made any trades between now and noon tomorrow? If something happens during the show tomorrow, you got to tune in. Noon tomorrow. Victoria, thank you. Thank you for listening. Y'all be good.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much,